If you've ever been excited about a sea of green candles seemingly everywhere, hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Benzinga's Market Edge. We're going to break down a whole bunch of stocks here today. We're going to talk about the Fed. We're going to talk about all the stuff going on in the market. Great to see everybody. Don't have an opening video for you yet, so we're just going to do some of these cold opens here, and we're going to dive right into it. We're going to start here with the SPY. SPY here, we've been talking a lot about this trend line recently. This trend line has actually gone back to 2023, so pretty much all of 2024 has revolved around the current trend that we're seeing. And now we are actually popped above this trend line. So after the election here, new all-time highs, a move above the trend line. Can we hold it? Do we pull back? What is next here for the SPY? Really just kind of ripping. Let's see, the pre-market high here in the SPY, 592.86, and it sure looks like it's going to try and push higher than that here today. So we'll see what happens with the opening print. Of course, this is on the backs of some positive earnings reports as well. So I definitely wanted to run through some of those and get you ready for the market here. Of course, we are going to have 13 in about 40 minutes. We're going to run through some of the movers, get you prepared for some of those as well. We should be all set to go for the market open. What I would like to hear from you folks here this morning, are there any stocks that you want to cover? I'll be honest, we have a lot more time to go over tickers now prior to the market. I have a whole list of tickers that I want to go through here. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about some potential trade setups. But if there's anything out there that you folks want to take a look at, definitely throw that in the chat. Let's talk about it. Let's try and come up with some trading action or some potential trades for those names. So first one, you guys are already starting. Actually, let me go ahead. I've got a note list here. Let me go ahead and add those. You want to talk about Disney, ticker DIS, Solar Edge. Solars are getting absolutely slammed right now. Awesome. We'll do AMD. And then TLT if we can get to it. GM ELF earnings, that's actually on the list already. We're going to cover that. Okay, you folks did not disappoint at all. Good morning, Jay Harris. Eat more chicken. Boy, you might be the biggest fan of Chick-fil-A in our chat. Pretty awesome. All right, we are going to start here with ticker ARM. This is ARM, Alpha Romeo Mike. They reported earnings here today. This was actually, I guess, kind of a surprise. Beat on the top and the bottom. They reaffirmed their EPS range of 145 to 165. The estimate was 156, so it's pretty much right in line there. We also had a price target raise from Barclays and JP Morgan this morning. And the stock's trading down 4.5% here. So this getting hit a little bit. You can see what the chart has looked like since last year. I actually think that this sets up well for the next trade. And so what I'm going to be doing here on ARM, we're currently at 138.50. All right. What I'm currently waiting for here is a move down and a hold of this 200-day, which is this blue line here on the chart. Now, the reason that I'm waiting for this is if you take a look at the last couple of times we interacted with this, it actually made for a great long trade setup. First of all, we had this big push to all-time highs over the summer this year, printed that in the middle of golf season in July, and then we really sold off. It had a move here from like 188 all the way down to 108, so almost a 50% haircut, 80-point move to the downside. But this did an excellent job holding that 200-day, gave you one trade, came back in, gave you another, and then, of course, if you had even a longer-term time horizon, you might even still be in this one. So now that we have this pretty good earnings out of the way here, the stock taking a little bit of a hit on it, that's fine with me. In fact, what I'd really like to see is the next course of action here for ticker ARM is maybe a slow drift or maybe even some sideways trading here down to the 200-day, wherever that meets. Right now, we got the 200-day at 130, 170. If this trades sideways for a couple of days, that's probably going to creep up to about 132. So 132 looks to be my target entry spot here for a long. And as you can see, that actually lines up pretty well with some of the bottoms of these candles. All right. So this is what I'd be looking for here on ARM. I think that we're we might actually get this. We've broke through the 50-day here today. So really the only thing that's here is going to be the low from Monday, November 4th, which we might take out here today. And then right beneath that is going to be that 200-day. So that's what we're looking for here on ARM. I would definitely consider trading this, especially if this happens in short order. Kind of getting the feeling like we might have a melt up here till the end of the year, given everything that's going on with the market and the election. And then maybe we look for a sell-off in 2025. We'll see if that's the case. But if we do kind of trade up here the rest of the year, a stock that pulls back to its 200-day and either holds it or dips beneath it and reclaims it could make for a pretty good long side trade. So that's what we're looking for. Ticker ARM, reported earnings here, and that's what's moving it. Okay, and we already mentioned Barclays and JP Morgan raised the price targets here. 131 is your next stop. 131, 132, that area in there. Okay, next here is going to be Qualcomm, and they also reported earnings. These earnings came after hours last night. They did a really good job of kind of holding those gains through the after hours and then also into the pre-market. So here we go with Qualcomm. Let me go back to the daily chart here because this is really where the trade idea actually is. So here we go. On Qualcomm, top and bottom line beat and announced a $15 billion share buyback. That's exactly what you want to see here for this. Watch now for a recapture here of the 200. So this is actually what we're getting here today. You can see that this thing actually ran into resistance at the 200-day prior to the earnings. Now that earnings are out, bang, we go not only through the 200-day, but also through the 100-day. And now we're cruising on up. So it looks to me like the next spot here on QCOM probably going to be right in here at 196. If we come back here on the daily chart, you do see that there's a little bit of a gap in here. Let me find that actually. 188 to 193. We'll see if this one actually gets filled here if QCOM moves up. But this is kind of what I'm looking at as far as QCOM goes. So we'll see if we end up getting this here. I know that this is a favorite, and it's a little bit safer if some of these tech stocks are a little bit safer name of some of these tech stocks here. Good morning, Lion Atlas. Good to see you. It's always good to have you here today. Okay, next, ELF, and this is one that you folks wanted to take a look at. Really, really nice move here today on ELF. This thing has kind of been in a downtrend, been weak kind of going into the earnings here. I know we traded sideways. We really kind of drifted down here, did a really good job of testing this $100 level twice. My initial call on this was that I thought this was going to break the $100 level and then maybe come into this 90 to 95 area. Well, we did not get that. And we held this area. So now it might be time for us to really kind of reverse this move and go back up. The earnings here today on ELF, earnings beat, sales jumped 40%. They raised guidance. And the big thing that we got from their report, this seems to be the #1 brand among Gen Zers. So, with that here on ELF, that's pretty good news. As far as the price action goes, we actually popped off this consolidation area. We reclaimed the 50. We're at the top end of the sideways range. All of that is good for a bullish trade or for an upside trade. And then the other thing here is that the RSI is still kind of in no man's land here. So we should have some move or room to run here, maybe a multi-day trade if this ends up working. Next spot on the upside here, definitely want to watch 124. That's going to line up really nicely with the top end of this range that candle came from September 13th. And that's also going to represent the 500-day moving average. So if we can take that out, we should be pretty good up to 135, 136. Okay, so ELF here, this also reporting earnings, really good performance here today. Some good news about ELF. And the other thing is that this is kind of more of like a discount cosmetics. So if the consumer continues to feel stretched, ELF likely to benefit from that. So kind of like this setup here on ELF. And again, the moving averages clearly define some price targets above if we can continue to move. Who asked about ELF earlier? That was it was Sun88. You had mentioned that GM and ELF were up on good earnings. Let me know what you think here about ELF. Do you have a position on that? Do you have a trade plan on that? Are you looking to enter? What's your thought there on ELF? Okay, next on the list here is going to be Lyft. who also reported earnings. Lyft trading higher here this morning, 24.6%, almost 25% move here on Lyft. Highlights here, this was a huge beat. Record numbers of unique riders last quarter, and it was a surge of weekday riders, which kind of has me to believe that there's this return to the office has some legs as more and more people are likely using Lyft to do that. When we look at the daily chart here, you can really appreciate how much this pop, or what this pop has actually done. We were kind of drifting up and butting up against this 200-day. We were really unable to break above it, but this report, obviously the good news that this stock needed to break all the way through it. So although this is very bullish, just because of the size of the move and given where the RSI is now on the daily chart at 81, completely overcooked. Unlike some of the other trades that we just talked about with Qualcomm and ELF, and maybe even ARM, if that's able to hold its 200-day, I think that you might have some type of either consolidation period or maybe even a pullback to kind of reset the price here on ELF, reset some of that RSI, on Lyft, not ELF. So this popped right into a resistance area. You can see this actually had kind of a janky head and shoulders back from earlier in 2024, which did end up resolving to the downside. Now it looks like it's time to kind of take this formation out. So as far as targets here, I think that my next I think that the next move here is probably some type of corrective move. Maybe it trades up a little bit out of the open here and then starts to reverse and correct. That would be what I'm looking for. As far as targets on the downside here, I would say probably the 16 to 16 and a half. That area really needs to hold. I think if we retrace more of that, you're going to have a little bit of shakiness on the long side for these trades. The upside, if we continue to go, and I'll be honest, I'll be okay missing that. I'm not really in the habit of chasing stocks here up 25% after earnings. I'd like for that to settle out. But the next upside target here, let's call it 19 and a half. I marked this off at 1946, but 19 and a half sounds about right. And then maybe 21-ish for that recent high there. These would be my next two upside targets. If we end it, you can see where these go back to. If we end up clearing these out, we actually have a pretty huge gap here up to 30. So let's see if we can actually do that. We have some room, or we have some work to do prior to getting into that gap fill. So that's kind of what's going on with Lyft here. Let me see if there was anything else that came out. Nope. Q4 gross bookings, 4.2 billion to 4.35 billion. Gross bookings to grow 17% year over year. All of that stuff reads good. So I understand why this is up 25%. Just kind of difficult for me to say, yeah, it's probably a good idea to chase that. I'm not sure that that's the best move. Needham reiterating a hold here. Doesn't seem to have any type of price target adjustment there. So that's what's going on with Lyft. ELF, thank you for getting back here. ELF, very undervalued. I think it should be 160. So we might actually get that. Again, after this report, that'd be a pretty nice swing from where we're at here. So Sadaf, hope that works. Hope that works for you. I have hundreds on ELF, keeping it for the long term. Really, really good entry there. Son, nice job on that. Okay. All right. That should do it for Lyft. Let's keep moving on. Zillow is going to be next on the list. This is ticker Z. Zillow here, again, up 12.5%. Another good report here. Top and bottom line beat. Also had a price target raise from Morgan Stanley. That's also helping this here today. 17% revenue growth year over year. That's really good to see. Residential revenue growth 12% year over year, but rental revenue growth really driving that 24% year over year. Mortgage revenue increased 63% year over year. So if you're in the camp that you think interest rates might be coming down in 2025, whether it's just the Fed continuing its course or Trump trying to maybe even drive those interest rates down more, perhaps that would increase mortgage origination and mortgage revenue as well. So Zillow actually did a pretty decent job. Kind of holding. Let me take a look here and go inside. You can see here, did a nice job holding, and now we have a pretty nice pop. So 66.10 is where we're currently at now. We're right shy of this recent high. This is the high that we made in September. I definitely look for more of a pop if we're able to take this high out. We'll see if we get there. I'm not sure if we get there today. Stock's already up 14% here. So this is another one. Definitely want to watch that opening print and see if you can get any type of support level. Kevin here saying Zillow might be a sleeper, seeing that Trump won. Might be some time though. So that's kind of what we're thinking here. I think a lot of this is going to depend on interest rates. The real estate expert that we have in Happy Hour is constantly saying how well Zillow is operating, especially in the face of some of the headwinds that's going on in the real estate market now. I would imagine that if any of that turns around, this is going to be positive for Zillow. So look for that on Zillow. I really like this, just kind of backing out and looking at the more long-term here. I really like this action. I really just kind of held this area, slow drifts up. Let's see if we can take some of these levels out and set some new resistance levels above. So Zillow looking pretty good. Really good earnings report there. Let me see if I missed anything here from the news. There's the price target from JP Morgan. Needham reiterates a hold on Zillow. Okay, we didn't have a price target change there. I think that's it. Yep. 233 monthly active users on Zillow and Zillow Group. So really good stuff there. Seems like a good report, plus 14% here. Be curious to know if this holds. No position here on Zillow, but I'd really be watching for this recent high to get taken out. Okay. Really good stuff there on Zillow. Okay. So for that's it pretty much for the earnings. Did you guys have any other earnings you want to take a look at? Paul, I know you mentioned Coke. KO here. Let's see. This actually recently lost to 200. So I don't know if there's. Okay, so this wasn't on my list, Paul, but since you brought it up, let's talk about it. All right, Coke. This has been a pretty decent long-term hold. I'm pretty sure 13 was in this for the long-term, sold out recently on the move up. Now that we're getting this move down, this is exactly what we want. You can see we did lose the 200-day here recently, but give it a couple of days, because if we're able to recapture that, I think we probably make a move back above 66. 67 actually seems pretty much in line there. If we continue to come down, I'd really be watching for this 62 level. You can see that this 62 level actually was in play going back earlier this year. Looks like this is going to be about the summer. We really kind of consolidated around 62 and then also used it as support right in here during July. So the 62 level, if we retest that, I actually think that might be a decent area for a long here. And if we break beneath that, I'm not necessarily sure I'd want to go short right away. This has been in a recent downtrend. I do think that this can reverse. So I think if you were not able to recapture that, maybe just kind of let it shake out and wait for a better setup on Coke. Paul, this is good, though. I'm glad you brought this up. And, if you can remind me, I've got calls 2 weeks out. Okay, so, Paul, that's actually a pretty good setup here because, again, if you get any type of upside move, you really have a target that a lot of other traders are going to be paying attention to, this 200-day. So if this turns around here, you might be good on those calls. You're going to need to have some of this action happening pretty soon for that to be the case, though. So keep an eye on that. Thanks for bringing Coke to the group here, though. Two other stocks that I really quickly wanted to mention, going to be in the airline industry. We're going to talk about United Airlines and Delta Airlines here. Both of these stocks back to pre-pandemic levels. So if we zoom out here, you can see United Airlines testing 90 here, or up thereabouts. Top end of this consolidation area. This is all the way back now from pre-pandemic levels. Now, the thing here, that's great, but if you take a look and see how fast this thing has moved, this thing was $37 on August 5th. Here we are on November 7th, and it is $87. We actually have a nice little island formation up here. Woo. So this thing has been on a huge run. RSI totally overcooked here. 79.91, almost 80. Wow. Huge RSI reading here. Would really like for that to come back in. Now, I do think that this is a pretty good spot for maybe just kind of a regression back to the mean trade here. So maybe kind of small puts to kind of bring this back in. We'll see if this moves to the bottom end of the candle and holds it. If it does, we could have the floating island set up. If not, we have a gap below that kind of fills down to 80. So looking pretty good here for a potential trade on UAL. We'll see if this wants to move back first. That's the way I would play it, and that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for. I actually just tried some short-term puts on UAL, I think 2 weeks ago. Did not quite work. I would imagine that this is going to turn around here pretty soon, but we'll see. The other one here to take a look at is going to be Delta, ticker DAL. And as you can see, this has a very similar chart formation. Delta actually even higher than it was pre-pandemic. This here above 60, again, same type of move here. We've got this little island formation. So I think both of these might make for decent regression back to the mean trades. I think the smartest way to do that is probably using the option market and have your risk defined ahead of the trade. So we'll see if we can get pullbacks on any of these. Again, here, RSI overcooked 74 on Delta. Not quite as high as United, but still kind of overbought here on an RSI basis. So I think UAL and DAL, both potential regression back to the means, both potential short setups. And I'd use options to do that to not get shaken out on that. Okay, next one here is going to be Google. This is another one. I'm really interested to see what happens with some of these tech names now that Trump has won. We're going to need some more time to see how this all kind of shakes out. But Google here looking pretty good. I'd watch for 180 and 183 for a move towards this 190 and then inevitably all-time highs. So you can see Google recently made a move off this 200-day, really, really strong move, came back in, tested the 100-day. This also happened to test the 20-day simple moving average or thereabouts, and now it's curling back up. So the spots on the chart that I'm waiting for here, 180 first, that's going to be right in here. We're looking to test that here today, 179.70 right now. So we're only 30 cents away from that. And then beneath, above that here, it looks like this 183 level. That's going to be the bottom of this gap fill right in here. And then 183.5 about the top of this candle. So we'll see here if we get that on Google. We'll see if we get a move up to that 190. This is kind of what I'm looking at. Google is fairly easy to trade just in terms of like its share structure and all that. So looking for that type of move here on Google. Nike, this is another one that we have been trading recently. It's a bit frustrating because I actually had a really awesome short setup on this, opened a short, it's kind of small in the after hours, closed it for only 1.5 points, was looking for 75 for the target to the downside here. Really didn't look like it was going to give that to me early on. So closed the short, and then lo and behold, popped, shook some people out, and then rolled back over. We're absolutely down here to that 77, 75 level. This actually looks like this wants to go lower here. So although I have no position on Nike at this point now, because I got the initial move that I was looking for on the short, I'd really like to see this kind of come in towards this $70 support area and hold it. I think if it does that, this represents a really decent long side trade. Now, the last time that we did this, you can see we gapped down here. This was on an earnings print. We really kind of consolidated. We used that $70 level as really good support. Looks like we tested it or almost tested it there 3 times. And then we had a pretty strong move up. There was some news about an activist investor that kind of helped this along. We ended up trading up towards the 200-day and didn't even test it. So although we got in that area on some decent volume, this volume was kind of the highest volume that we've seen since July. We really weren't able to test it. We certainly weren't able to break it. We reversed pretty hard. We ended up gapping down, and now we've kind of been playing around with this 50-day moving average. That's going to be your yellow line here. Once we broke that, we continued to move lower. Now we want to see if we can hold these lows here. 75. We lose 75 here today. We're currently at 76.20. We live 75 here today. I'm really going to put this on the watch list because I do think we kind of come into this low 70s level. And I actually think that represents a long setup. As long as there's not some other new, really terrible news or something like that in the news cycle, I think you could have a pretty decent long setup down here. Okay. All right. You guys have some more stuff here. Nuclear stocks under Trump. We can take a look at those as well. We cover that. Ralph Lauren, you guys were mentioning, and SMCI, and then Oklo. So Oklo fits into those nuclear stocks. So we'll take a look at all of those here as we continue to roll through this list. So that does it here with Nike. Next, we're going to do Alber Marl. This is ticker ALB. Alber Marl, I've been waiting for this one for a while here. So looking pretty good. This did a good job holding the $92 level. You can see here that's the 50-day moving average. That's going to be this yellow line here. It's also corresponding or kind of lining up with the 100-day moving average. It's done a really good job holding that level and staying above it. Now, the one thing here is that it's kind of used the 20-day moving average as resistance. We did pop above that once, but we only had one close above that level before coming back in. So I'd really like to see that get crushed here today, frankly. That 20-day moving average is at 96.76. The current price is at 96.58, so we're really not that far off. I know Alber Marl is down here in the pre-market about 1.5%, but if this thing can firm up or show any type of strength today, a close above that 200-day probably gives us a 100 test and then a potential move to 106.75. So you got 10 points from where we're at right now. As far as a potential trade here, this one is probably the easiest in terms of levels. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you here. The way that I would trade this is pretty simple. I'd be looking at this 50-day as a potential downside stop. So our entry here, let's just call it 96.50. All right. I'd be looking at $3.50 worth of downside. I'd maybe put my stop 92.80 or something, 92 and change right beneath that 50-day moving average. And then I'd be looking for $10 worth of upside on, or $10 of movement on the upside. So we're looking at probably like a 3-to-1 risk to reward trade here. I'd just be using the moving averages as a guide, and you can do this either with options or with stock. Should be fairly easy here. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. We get a bust above that 200-day. Maybe this thing goes on a run. We'll reassess that when we get here. But ALB, this is another one. This is another one that I think has a potential trade setting up for it. Okay. Amazon, did you do it? Computer shutdown? No, have not done Amazon yet. Let me add that to the list. Thank you very much, Izzy. AMZN, we'll do that one. And then Lion, you were also mentioning Open Door. They report earnings this morning, don't they? No, Zillow did. Let's take a look here at Open Door. Oh, no, excuse me. They do report earnings, but it's aftermarket here today. So interesting. So Lion, I'm curious. I'm asking you, given what we saw from Zillow, do you think that any of that is going to end up applying here to Open Door? Right. So are you more bullish on Open, seeing what Zillow reported? I'd be curious to know what your answer is. I have my own thoughts on that, but I'll hold it until I hear what yours is. So let me know on that. Let me know on Open. We can come back to that. I do want to keep rolling through some of the lists here. Next one here is going to be Geo, and this is the Geo Group. Now, this is a private prison company. This should do well with the Trump presidency. As odd as that is to sound, this is kind of the inverse of the defund the police movement, and that's why you're seeing such strong performance here. Now, I got to be honest with you. I'm not keen on chasing this. I'm not keen on chasing this at all. I actually, just in the kind of the theme of the islands and the other stuff that we were talking about, I'd really like to see this pull back and kind of hold this $19 area. Give me a floating island setup. I think that this is going to be pretty, this is kind of like a theme issue here after the Trump victory. So I wouldn't be surprised if this has some legs for this movement. But again, just kind of looking at recently what's going on here, we have a huge pop, huge move higher. The RSI is completely overcooked here at 81. I mean, just massive, massive figures on some of those. So I'd really like to see this kind of regress back to the mean, maybe kind of hold this. Common Sense says, ethically, I wouldn't trade this. And you know what? I have absolutely zero problem with that. Zero problem with that. I also have some kind of ethical blockers on some stocks for trading. So I totally get it. I do want to mention it because one of the themes that we've kind of been discussing recently are what stocks going to do well given the election and the administration shakeup. And this one is already kind of showing you it's one of the best performers. So I'm not going to ever advocate chasing, and I'm never going to advocate you trading something that you're just not comfortable trading. That to me, that's not smart investment thesis at all. So totally get it. But if you are looking to trade for, this one, wait for a pullback here towards the bottom end of this candle, see if it holds, and maybe we can go from there. Yeah, no, I totally get it. It's not a lot of stuff that I would care about, but private prisons is a bridge too far. Totally get it. I mean, look, my big thing, I don't trade Philip Morris. I lost my father to lung cancer. I don't feel good making money off of a tobacco company, so I don't trade it. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The good news here is that there's plenty of other stocks in the market for us to trade. You don't have to feel bad about it. So don't worry about that. I think that's totally normal. Everyone's a little bit different. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But that's the setup here, ticker GEO. Okay, that's the setup for GEO. Okay, Lion, answering my question here about Open. Let me go back to that real quick here. I believe Open will move higher with the sector benefiting from low rates. Okay, so this almost seems to me like you think like a rising tide lifts all boats here. This might be a sector-wide thing, and you might be right about that. I would be cautious about that, though, because I do think that Zillow is probably outperforming, and I wonder how much business Zillow's actually taking from Open Door. I will try and get an updated read from my real estate expert when I can. I'll try and get an updated read from my real estate expert when I can, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here right now. So I have no trade opened here on Open. I'm not necessarily looking for that. I do kind of want to see what the report is. So I'm not going to trade this here, Lion. I'd love to know how you set this up. Okay. I don't trade Meta. They banned my account and there's no support to help me. I don't trade Meta because I had a bad experience back when I was younger with Meta. It's just I never really saw any benefit. It didn't really do anything for me. So I generally don't trade it. I get it though. I get it. Anticipation for Fed rate cut. So that's the other thing. So if you're going to try to trade a Fed rate cut and you think that some of these stocks are going to respond to that, like Zillow or Open Door, if we get a cut in the interest rate, maybe loading it on a day where it's a little bit weaker is the smarter move for that. I'm going to stay away from that. I think that there are other things to trade. I'd like to see how this actually reports first before trading it. So, okay, I'm going to keep moving through the list here. You good? Hey, we got thumbs up. You know what that means, folks. If you haven't had coffee, you're in luck because now 13 is here and his energy is going to bleed through osmosis to you. So, okay.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to happen.
We'll see if that's going to happen. Okay. Next here, 13. I'm just kind of running through the list here. I just had a couple of other stocks. We can go to whatever you want here in a sec if you'd like. Next one that I had on the list is Palantir. Now, I know this is going to be weird. I've been long Palantir for a while. Been saying how great this is. The trade has been great. Butterfly to the long side really, really paid. The target there was 45. And as you can see, the stock's here at 55. So we have made a humongous run here on Palantir. There's just no short. Let's say again.
It's going to be a good short.
That's exactly why this is on the list here. There is no chill in Palantir, but man, oh man, is this setting up eventually to be a good short. RSI totally overcooked. You see the extension away from the moving averages. You see the recent move. You see all of that stuff pushing this to the highs here. So this 13, my question here for Palantir, and I don't necessarily have an answer here. We're broken away to brand new all-time highs. Where do we short? What is the level? What are the targets? Because effectively taking a short on a stock that has this kind of momentum, you're basically jumping in front of a momentum freight train. And that can be a good way to get hurt. So do you have any ideas on a short here?
Not really. First, I'd like to see it come back down closer to 45. I kind of just need to see confirmation of that we're actually turning around here, because we have had some days where we sell off, or we sell off for maybe a week or a few days within that week, and then we absolutely start turning around and ripping. We've seen that plenty of times in this stock. So I would like to see more sustained weakness. I think the more risk that you take and with that short, the more you're going to be rewarded if you time it correctly. But I don't know where that short is going to start. It could be soon, could be next year, early next year. But I would just keep my eyes on this and watch the price action. I think that's going to tell you.
Okay, real good stuff there. So one of the things that I said recently here on Palantir 13 is that I'd really like for this to kind of set up for a floating island trade, meaning kind of come back in, hold the bottom of the candle here. That level, by the way, is at 47.48. If we get that type of hold down here, then it might set up for another long trade. But now that we continue to push higher here, I'm almost thinking maybe play the regression back to the mean, if you're thinking that that's going to happen, and then play for the long side. So I might actually try that here. No position yet. I'll let you guys know if I do fill a short position here on Palantir. Yeah, go ahead.
It is about 23% away from the 20-day SMA, which is pretty far for that particular moving average. So I feel like there would have to be some coming in pretty soon. I don't know if we're going to see it completely start to sell off, but it's very extended. But maybe longer term puts are the way to go with this, but I don't know.
Yeah, look, anytime you're talking about a short, especially on a stock that is just raging on upside momentum, really tough to just kind of time that perfectly. We're trying to do something here that's difficult.
And here's another point. Like, we were just laughing about how the forward P ratio was 101. It's 131 now. This thing could be 200 forward PE ratio before it starts to turn around.
Yeah.
So it's like you said earlier. This is a freight train. Don't step in front of it.
Yeah. That's why. So the momentum to the upside, that's why I want to wait out a long side trade. But honestly, the more extended it gets away from that, the more and more I think to myself, boy, maybe a short and a regression back to the mean makes the most sense. Not easy to do. Lynn saying, glad you're back up, Ryan. Yeah. So I guess here, formally apologize to everyone that was with us yesterday, including you, 13. It turns out that some work on my house did result in the workers in some way messing up my internet line. So sorry about that. I know I dropped middle of the show. Really great job, 13, kind of holding the fort down. I actually got, speaking of which, just as kind of an aside here, I actually got an excellent Comcast technician. I'll be honest, with those techs, it really seems to be hit or miss. Depends on the person that you get. The guy I got was awesome, and he's going to make sure that when they run the new line, that it's going to be dedicated and maybe harder for workers to kind of screw up. So 13 viewers, sorry about that yesterday. Excellent job holding the fort down, 13. Thanks all of you for being nice to him.
Yeah, thank you guys. James, that's true for the time being. At some point, their PE will matter. It will at some point. Valuations will matter again one day, and that's when all the other valuations of all these other stocks will matter one day. Don't know when that day is going to be. Probably won't be this year, but one day this is the valuations will start to make sense again, and we'll see a lot of corrective moves in some of these names. Palantir will be one of them. We're also getting a lot of requests to look at some of these EVTOLs like Archer, Joby, and we have a list here that some folks were mentioning.
We can do that. So here, all right. And Replay Game Lab saying, sorry for you. What a day to miss.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Tell me about it. I will say, I was hot spotting intermittently while I was waiting for the technician and then dealing with the technician. So I was checking the market. A lot of stuff was raging. Thankfully, my swing account was doing okay. So I did not feel the need to constantly be babysitting day trades or all of that. So it was very frustrating, but honestly, it's in the past. We push forward here now. One more real quick, 13, before we get over to the I have got one more on my list, and then the rest of the stocks here are a list from what the group wanted to see. So let me just finish that up, then we'll go ahead and take a look at all of those. The stock here is Moderna. It's ticker MRNA. One of the reasons why I want to shout this one out, first of all, we were just talking about having like a moral reason to not want to trade something. Moderna is that for me as well. But with that being said here, Moderna trading up on positive results. Looks like a beat on the top and the bottom line, driven by some surprise sales in Moderna. The one thing that I want to mention here, though, is that here's what the intraday chart looks like. You can see this thing was about $52 yesterday. We did pop as high as 58. We backed off that high a little bit. We'll see where we open. We'll see where we trade. but I really did want to shout out our community here because Anne Marie, although we didn't have a show with her yesterday, if you are a Benzinga Pro subscriber, awesome. If you're not, what are you doing? At least go check out the free trial. But if you're a subscriber, be sure to check out Anne-Marie's chat room. She gave this one out yesterday. I know it might be a little difficult to see, so I'll try and zoom in here. She gave out a strangle, called this a lottery ticket on Moderna. 67 the calls, 40 the puts on the downside. The debit was 27 cents. I think this is probably going to be an easy double overnight. So little lottery ticket given away by one of our pro traders in Benzinga Pro. It looks like that's going to pay here today. So pretty awesome stuff. Pat on the back for Anne-Marie for giving out Moderna. They reported earnings today. Surprise sales. Stocks trading higher. That's what's going on here with Moderna. Okay. Really good stuff. I can't believe I made it through that many stocks already. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. Let's go check out some of those EVTOLs. Then we're going to get to Disney, Solar Edge. We'll probably talk about some other solar stocks. AMD was on the list, the nuclear stocks, Ralph Lauren, SMCI, and Amazon. You know what? Let me throw one more in here. Let me do Amazon first. Izzy's been patiently waiting here for Amazon, and you and I have been talking about Amazon recently here. Amazon, big move here recently after the election. Just good volume, good move. We took out that 200 wall, 13. That 200 wall, the Jeff Bezos wall looks like that has fallen, at least for right now. I mean, he sold a absolute ton of stock up there. Now we're moving through that level here. Amazon up another about 0.25% here today. RSI just entering that overbought territory at 70.23 here. So maybe we get a pullback in short order, but I wouldn't be surprised if this continued some of its upside momentum on Amazon. Nice clean break. These are new all-time highs here on Amazon. Blue skies above. If you're in this trade, this is one where you just kind of trim and trail it, right? As the stock keeps trading up, trim a little bit of your position, book those gains, and you'll have a really nice trade on your hands.
It's funny you said that. I cut my position in Amazon in half yesterday.
Sweet. So you trim and trail, just like I was saying there.
Well, yeah, if you call that a trim, cutting in half, that's a little bit more than a trim. But yeah, I took some off the table. I was going to let the rest go. But if we do come back in, I'm looking to pick more up under 150. Yeah.
So, look, a haircut, you can trim 50% of your hair. You can trim 25% of your hair. Maybe we could ask Zunaid at some point and see, how much of a trim, how much of his hair a trim actually represents. All I'm saying is that selling into this strength, especially when you have that big move there, really, really smart. And you did it in a way where you still have a piece on in case this continues to run. We call that a textbook move in the business. So really, really good stuff there, 13. Really, really good stuff. Izzy, you rock. No, you rock. Thanks for your support. Glad we were able to cover this. Okay, let's take a look at some of those EVTOLs. I know Lynn had mentioned this. GM guys, watching EVTOLs, Archer, Hover, and XPEV. You also throw Joby on that list here. Archer's the one. This is the one. When I first kind of looked into the whole EVTOL space, Archer was the stock that I was really kind of looking into. Bought a little bit of this just to track it. I think I own like 150 shares, nothing I really care about. But it just forces me to look at the stock every day. And I will say, looking at the daily chart here on Archer, I think we've put in a new near-term floor at about 3. So the next thing that I'd like to see in terms of a trade is maybe a recapture of this 200-day like we did back here in July. Now, I'd like to see more of a hold of that. I don't want to give it up in short order like we did back in July, but it does look like we've really kind of put this bottom in. Let's see if we can kind of turn the trend around. They do report earnings today after the market closes here. So Archer up 3.5% here in the pre-market. 13, I know you like these EVTOLs. What do you think here?
Well, I expect this company will report that they have lost more money. That's just kind of the case with the EVTOLs right now. They are still in the process of certification and their supply chain and their manufacturing centers for their aircrafts. But Archer is pretty far along. There's a few more compliance hurdles they have to get over, and they have their Georgia facility that they partnered with Stellantis on. That's going to be manufacturing. I think that goes online next year. Don't exactly have a date, but I expect that this company will report that they've had to spend money to get off the ground here, literally, but they're probably going to mention a lot of their progress that they've made and give you some more milestones to shoot for. But I think in next year we're going to start seeing these in the air in some select markets. I think I want to say New York, Houston, and Los Angeles might be some of the earliest markets. They also have some pretty high short interest, so we're going to see some squeezing here too if the reports is more favorable than what expectations are.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm kind of excited for this. I'm skeptical on when we're actually going to see them in the air, but I am kind of excited for this. So I'm definitely watching this one. Good stuff there on Archer. Just the one that I always compare Archer to here is Joby. I didn't see that in Lynn's list of stocks that they were looking at here. Let's go ahead.
Well, the thing about Archer this morning is that they'd had news.
Yeah.
Remember how we were talking with Stay Focused, and when he had made that comment when there was I think there was a partnership with Joby and Toyota. That was a big deal for him because in his experience he had told us when Japan really starts to invest in something, they believe it. It's because they've done their due diligence and they think it's going to work. If you see Japan investing in something, that's a good sign that this is going to be an up and coming theme or an up and coming product. So the fact that they're getting into air mobility with Joby and now with Archer, placing or let's see, Soracle has obtained the right to place aircraft orders of up to 100 for Archer. That's a very good sign for air mobility in the future. That if the Japanese believe it, then you can almost guarantee that that's what we're going to see in the future is these products coming up to market.
Yeah, that's a really good point there. Izzy also making another good point here. Good stuff there on the news. If anyone needs that news, let me know. I'd be happy to put that here in the chat. So Archer going to report earnings here after hours today. Joby reported earnings after hours yesterday. So. Yeah.
That's a loss. They reported a loss because that's how these are going to be for until they start getting those sales and building aircraft and you see these in the skies. They're going to operate at a loss for a little bit. So
let me ask you, are you expecting the same thing then on Archer?
Yes.
So there you go.
That's what I was saying earlier. That they are going to report. I'm completely confident they're going to report a loss.
Okay. All right. There you go. Archer, or excuse me, Joby, after that earnings report here, down 1.78% in the pre-market. We'll see if that can hold here. So, okay. Awesome stuff there. We'll go and take a look here real quick at Hover. This was another one. This one, more of the penny stock here. I would stay away from this, Lynn. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't know if you've traded this one. I can't remember if this is one of the ones that you like or not. Anyway, this moving here in the pre-market with some of that. We did have a PR here. Horizon Aircraft simplifies capital structure with mutual termination of forward purchase agreement with Meteora Capital. That's what's going on here with Hover. Looks like a little bit of news there. Hover up 20% here. And then the last one that you wanted to take a look at is XPEV. This is XPeng. We take a look at this one quite a bit. I don't think this was new. Is this new news? XPeng flying car can be mastered in 3 hours, says the company's chairman. Okay, so that's pretty awesome, right? You can learn how to fly this thing around in 3 hours. Really not bad at all here. Here is your XPEV chart. This actually gapping up here today, up almost 7%. On XPEV. Let's see where this looks like on the daily. Did we get above this yet? No, not quite, but it does look like we're going to challenge this level here. This was a former support level. 1370 is that level, by the way. Former support level now turned resistance. You can see going back to 2023, the summer of 2023, this was absolutely support, summer and fall of 2023. Now it should be acting as resistance. The next test here, we'll see if we get that. Still not quite overbought on the RSI yet. So there we go on those EVTOLs. Good stuff there. Good stuff.
And there's a couple of EVTOLs I at least want to mention. There's a Boeing brand named Whisk. If you're looking for more exposure to the EV space, Boeing has a brand named Whisk. There's another one that I liked. I thought their aircraft was actually pretty cool, but they have been running into some issues with some of their subsidiaries. That was the Lilium jet.
LILM?
Yeah. So I don't know if that's still around. That had some trouble. Hopefully that gets picked up by some other company. I don't even know if they're listed anymore. But they needed a reverse split. That might be gone. So unfortunate for Lilium. That was one I was hoping would do well. They ended up getting orders, but we'll have to see what happens with that. I don't know why I can't find them on the exchange anymore. I think they may have been delisted.
Okay, no problem. We're going to have some time. We got, looks like we got 5 minutes here before Junaid hops on for a quick interview. So I do want to hit a couple more stocks from the chat real quick. Disney was one that was suggested earlier. Here is a look at Disney. Looks like it is... looks like this has finally put in that bottom down here around 85. And it looks to me like the next test here might be a test of that 200-day moving average. We lost that 200-day moving average July of earlier this year. We've not even really retested it. So I'd be curious to see what that test looks like here. 200-day, really important for Disney. We've seen this a lot. 13, I know you've traded Disney recently. Do you have any thought or any line here on this today?
This is the price action that I was describing back in October that we wanted to see, where we recaptured the 95 handle and we consolidated above there between the 97.50 and 95 areas. We got that, and now we're breaking out of it. So this is a price action that I've been looking for some time. I may have actually said this back in late September, but this is what we were. What I was looking for. I started liking Disney again once I caught wind that they were turning around some of the way that they handle their different movie business segments like Lucasfilm and Marvel. So I started to get a little bit more hope there for the company. Looks like we have a date with the 200-day SMA. That is currently at 101.24. If we hit it, I don't know if we're going to hit it today. We could. It's entirely possible. We're not that far away. But once we do, I would think that we maybe might back off of it and try to test a previous support level, maybe kind of right where we're at. So if we push up to the 200-day SMA, I'd be looking back towards this level where we're at for support. If not here, maybe 97.50.
Okay, really good stuff there on Disney. I actually forgot who asked about Disney. It was a while ago, but hopefully you found that helpful.
Honestly, it was Christopher.
It was earlier today. Either way, really good stuff there on Disney. I'm going to keep going here. Still have 3 minutes before Junaid's interview. One of the other stocks that was mentioned was going to be Solar Edge. That's ticker SEDG. Tell you what, solar just in general, since the Trump victory, this has really kind of been getting shelled here. So you take a look at this Solar Edge chart, not great. Maybe we get a bounce here on some oversold activities, but you could see Solar Edge just from yesterday, really kind of tough here. Big move down. I'd like to see if maybe this week you get a dead cat bounce here today. Stock's down another 13% from yesterday. So maybe we do get a little bit of a dead cat. Not sure here. We did report earnings last night. Looks like a miss on the top, miss on the bottom. Not looking good here for Solar Edge. This actually not my favorite solar stock either. So if you're looking for a solar play, this one probably not the best. I know Enphase has really been hit recently as well, but Solar Edge here, not sure where the bottom is. Maybe there's a short-term dead cat bounce here.
Line Atlas, no, they should not, and they probably can't because that company is struggling hard and they're looking to sell off assets. So the company's looking to sell assets. They're likely not going to be buying anything, and I wouldn't want them to buy it either.
Tenzin here. Tenzin here. Solar's going to die. I'm not sure about this. Long term, I think that I've been probably in agreement with Elon. Solar will provide a majority of the electrical power, but that's not for a long time. And that's, we'll see what happens as our power needs continue to ramp with the use of AI and data centers and all of that, and how solar can actually apply for that. But I do think that there's a spot for this. Solar generally trades better in lower interest rate environments. So perhaps as we continue to cut interest rates and get to a lower interest rate environment, some of these solar stocks will be more appealing. These solar stocks are more appealing.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to take. They need to start putting those on more rooftops, and they have been. I see a lot of these solar panels on, like parking garages, and shaded areas. So
yeah, I see them around me as well. A lot of the buildings on the highways, like if I'm driving, especially north to Wisconsin, a lot of them will have them there. Market Sniper says, good morning. What's going on? How are we on before 9? Is it Christmas already? It is definitely not Christmas. I can confirm that. We did have a scheduling change. Dennis and Joel are doing their own thing on their own channel. So that leaves more time in the morning here during this hour. Market Edge is the new show, and it starts at 8 a.m. Eastern every single day. So Market Sniper, I'm afraid you're going to have to adjust your alarm clock and get up a little bit earlier, my man. Early Christmas present for you there. But it's not Christmas. It's not Christmas. Okay. Zunaid, thumbs up, thumbs down. You good? No good? Hey, there he is. Zunaid, how are you doing here this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Taking a look at a couple of tickers. I was taking a look at Uber, and I'm going to kind of go across the markets here in a moment as well. Robinhood trying to break 30 yesterday. Didn't quite do it. We'll have John Caruso on here in just a couple of minutes. But how's your morning been?
It's been good so far. No complaints so far. I woke up breathing, feeling good. So we'll see how the market actually behaves today. Hopefully I don't lose my internet connection again like I did yesterday. It was fairly traumatic. So as long as that doesn't happen, Zunaid, I should be good.
Well, no worries. I'm at home today, so you just let me know. And of course, in terms of the futures itself, taking a look and seeing if we're going to go ahead and break the, call it 21,000 area, more so like about 29.88, 25 on the NQ. That's the area where we're currently at trying to break. So just a couple of things to kind of take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and have an interview with John Caruso here in a moment. Got some great insights last time he was here. Of course, the election was something that he was waiting for to see how that panned out. Now we have that kind of answered, and we'll see what the future holds here as well. But 13, what are you looking at here as I change the banners up?
Oh, I'm just reading jobless claims and some of the news headlines. That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
We do have one question. We need you to kind of get to the bottom of this, Zunaid. Was wondering earlier, I was just talking to 13 about trimming and trailing. When you get your haircuts all the time, what constitutes a trim versus a cut?
They're all so, you know, they're all the same thing. It's just like I just walk in and he knows what's up. You know?
Okay, so it seems to me that a trim can really be anything. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. There you go.
Be on the phone. Zunaid walks in. I gotta go.
For helping us out,
sir. Honestly, be like, your Highness is here. Can we get this going, please? Thank you, appreciate it. But no, you know, especially when you start. So I'm like, you know, balding a little bit here and there, so I have to just like keep this a little bit longer. But they know to like chop this off. So I'll probably get a haircut today because I've got things to do. But yeah, tomorrow
you're awesome, Zunaid. We'll be here on the other side of your interview. Good
appreciate it. Yeah. All right, let me go ahead and bring up a couple of things. End here. All right, chat. You know, we'd love to go ahead and get you some insights as well. There's so many different ways to kind of look at the market, and we want to bring you as many professionals as possible. So I want to bring my man on, John Caruso. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, John. All right. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. How are you doing, Zunaid?
I'm doing well, folks. This is John Caruso, who's the senior market strategist at RJO Futures. John, you know, last time we were here, and I'll give you the floor here for a moment to introduce yourself to the folks. We talked about different things in terms of, all right, here's what you're bullish on. Here's where your insights are at. But before we dive into where you're currently at, if it's the same, especially post-election results, tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you've been in the business.
Yeah, so I work for RJO Futures. We are the retail division of RJ O'Brien. I have been a commodity broker and trader for the past, I'm going on 21 years, I believe, at the turn of the year. So I've been around for a while. I've been with RJ O'Brien, RJO Futures for the past, I think it was approximately the past 14 years. I am a former MF Global refugee, if you recall that happening back in 2011. So I've been with RJO Futures ever since. And ultimately, our goal here is just try to help make our clients, our retail clients, help them make the most informed trading decisions throughout the day, help them properly position and risk manage their portfolios in the commodity space.
Well, I appreciate you for being here. There's a lot of bullishness in the markets with the results of the election. Folks, we want to put the link in the chat as well. So if you like insights from John, and because this, I'm going to touch on this here, but this trading coach insights is kind of like your own journal of, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what the market's at. So it's kind of cool to kind of get your own insights of your personal journal. Last time we were on, we talked about how you were kind of bullish on the commodity side, the metal side, and Bitcoin as well. Of course, Bitcoin we've seen hit all-time highs, and we'll see where that's going as well. But let's kind of break it down. Let's go commodities. Are your views still the same as they were last time, and what are they now?
Yeah, still largely the same. I still think all roads lead to inflation. We are behind the election now, which I think is a massive sigh of relief for markets. I think that's one of the reasons why you saw Bitcoin move as aggressive as it did, and specifically the stock market. I think the stock market is breathing a massive sigh of relief. But the last time I mentioned, if there was anything bipartisan about this election, it was that both parties, both candidates, were going to spend. That was not going to slow down. Deficit spending has been a theme now for the past year and a half. We're currently running at a 6.5% budget deficit in Congress, which we only see those massive deficits typically run either during war or recession. And of course, we're in neither right now. So deficit spending continues to be a theme. You plug the Fed component in there. Of course, we're going to hear from the Fed later on today. They are going to drop rates a quarter basis point, and they're currently forecasting, your yield curve's currently forecasting that you're going to see roughly around an additional 75 to 100 basis points of rate cuts between now and the end of next year. So that's almost like dumping gasoline on the fire. I think all roads continue to lead to inflation going forward, and we think commodities are going to play a very big role in that.
And then how do you see metals playing out, especially if inflation continues?
Sure. One of the central themes for the metals markets is the electrification of America, of the world. We know that we're going to have to update the power grid expansion. And I think a lot of the precious metals, a lot of the industrial metals, we're very bullish on an intermediate to longer term scale, very bullish on copper, bullish on platinum. Palladium has actually made a very big turn on the chart that we do think is trying to forge a longer term bottom. So all those industrial metals you want to keep an eye on, and I think you want to start looking at having some of those in your portfolio going forward out into 2025.
And during now President-elect Trump's campaign, they were talking about Bitcoin and how he was going to be a big component of Bitcoin, and how the United States was going to be a major player, if not the top dog, in the crypto space as well. We saw crypto react to not just that, but also with him seemingly now winning the election, crypto making all-time highs there as well. Where do we what are your thoughts there in terms of where do we go from here? A lot of people, I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because I know there's certain things you can and can't say, but what are your thoughts? Where do we kind of go from here?
Well, with us taking out the all-time high, we're trading north of 75,000 in Bitcoin. I think we are basically unlocking a higher trading range. And that range could come into about the low 90,000 over the very near term, perhaps up north of 100,000. I've been following the price patterns of MicroStrategy, MSTR. I mean, talk about a stock that's just been absolutely on fire. It's almost like it's the tail wagging the dog at this point. So I think with the move to all-time highs, we certainly unlocked a higher trading range. We're going to be keeping an eye on 90,000. How do we respond there? If we get north of 90,000, I think it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy that we're going to tap 100,000, and it could be as soon as by the end of the year.
Is it 90,000 a specific reason, or is it just because it's a whole number, or is it like any, give me some insights there.
We've been trading in these 10,000 point ranges. And I think now that we've blown through 75, I think we will make our way to 90. And then eventually to 100,000. So there's it's just the price patterns of what we've seen in the market just kind of hovering and trading within a 10,000 point range. With us taking out the all-time high, I think we've unlocked a higher range.
All right. Appreciate the insights on that one. Is there anything else that folks should be kind of looking out for when it comes to futures? And, now that some things are behind us, but like you said, you've got the Fed meeting coming up. We'll see if there are any comments there that kind of change what we have been assuming is going to happen to the markets. But any other insights that our traders should kind of keep an eye on?
Yeah, you want to keep an eye on the 10-year yield. It's almost as if we're kind of living in this upside down world where the more dovish the Fed gets, the higher yields are starting to rise. So you need to keep an eye on that, because I think the 10-year yield, what the bond market's doing is it's forecasting, it's starting to sniff out the next inflation cycle. And it's almost, pushing back on Fed policy right now, because we know what President Trump's agenda is going to be. He's going to just continue to spend, run massive deficits. He's going to attempt to push out his tax cuts that he put in back in 2016. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, because if you recall what happened back in the UK about 2 years ago, when Liz Truss, she was elected prime minister over there, and she released her spending and tax cut plan over in the UK. I don't know if you remember what happened to the 10-year gilts market over there, but they lost their bond market for a period of about 4 or 5 days. You saw in roughly a 3-4 day move in the 10-year gilts, you saw rates rise 160 basis points. So that was a bond market revolt that happened over in the UK. I really believe that you have to be on the lookout for something like that here in the United States, where it's a quick panic in the market. There's an outright revolt in bond markets where, we're losing confidence in the ability of the United States to pay their debt. I don't think that that's the case, but you could see some short-term panic, some revolt from purchasing our bonds. So you really have to keep an eye on that. At some point, the bond market is going to say enough is enough. All right, we need to start getting our fiscal house in order here in the United States.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it does seem like everything is bullish. It just seems like everything is rainbow and flowers at the moment. It's kind of like, okay, where's my risk though? What should I be kind of keeping an eye out for? You know, so I'm glad you mentioned that. I remember when
I think 100% of the risk lies in the interest rate markets. We just saw the 30-year mortgage. It's back over 7% right now. Okay, so the cost of capital continues to rise despite deficit spending, despite the easier Fed. You have to keep an eye on that going forward.
I know a lot of traders are going to now turn on the notifications for President Donald Trump just to see what volatility gets caused in the markets with random tweets here and there. But thank you so much, John. I appreciate your insights, man.
Terrific. You got it. Have a great one.
You got it, my man. That is John Caruso, who is a senior market strategist at RJO Futures. We'll put the link in the chat as well if you'd like to get insights from John directly to your inbox. It's cool because he treats it like his own journal, his thoughts, his ideas. I'm going to go and bring Ryan and 13 back. Hello. But, thank you. I appreciate it. It was good insights because, everything does seem rainbows and butterflies. So it's always good to kind of be like, all right, but here's where we need to kind of take a look at, Oh, thank you. Whoever did that. Here's what we kind of need to look at, So it's kind of good to get the downside insights from him as well. And hopefully I got all the banners right here.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's hard for me to agree with everything, because I know that a lot of the comments that he was making was based on what we've seen in the past. I think that this is a little bit of a different situation that we're in now. We've never been in this situation where we've had this risk of high inflation with the national debt being what it is. We've never had the national debt this high, and I'm trying to wrap my head around. I understand the reason why raising interest rates to combat inflation is the go-to move. We've seen that happen in the with Volcker in the early 1980s, late 1970s. So I understand that, but at the same time, if you raise interest rates, then you only make U.S. borrowing more expensive.
Yeah.
So how do we tamper down inflation if raising rates is just going to only make borrowing more expensive? If we are anticipating that Trump or Kamala, whoever was going to end up with the White House, was going to keep on spending. We need to cut spending.
It'll be interesting if we're able to. I'll be honest. We've been saying every and I'll kind of leave the show to you guys after this comment, but it's like every president, every government has always said, "Oh, we're going to cut spending, we're going to do this and that," but it's always like, "Nah, we just continue piling it up for whatever reason."
It's so much easier. It's so much easier to spend somebody else's money, Zunaid. You're exactly right about that. And actually, I believe after Trump's last presidency, he said his biggest regret was not working on the deficit, and so now that'll really be in focus. Will he actually work? Is anything going to get done for that? You guys bring up some really good points there. Thanks, Zunaid. Really good stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Zunaid. He can make that change happen. He's got he might have all of Congress to help him out with that.
It looks like looks like a clean sweep. So no excuses on his policies that he wants to execute.
And 2025, that's the year that a lot of his previous tax breaks and credits those expire. So tax reform's coming next year, no matter what. So get ready, folks. We're gonna see how what you can do.
All right. I'll be back. By the way, Sportradar went ahead and reported earnings this morning. So I'll be back to interview the CEO there, especially with what's happening in the prediction markets. That type of data, that type of insights is always valuable to a company like Sportradar. And then we'll also have Andrea, who actually won contest number 1. She's leading contest number 2. Come on for an interview. She's looking to be a quant trader. So it's got some good stuff, good content. I'll be back at around, say, 10:40 or so, fellas. Show's all yours.
Okay.
Take care, Zunaid.
Take care, Zunaid. All right. 13. In the meantime, let's go ahead and do it. Well, we're gonna keep running through the list here. So Replay Game Lab. It's your show, but I'd prefer guests before 9 a.m. or after 11. Bingo. That's actually one of the things that we're going to be able to do now with the programming shift. So actually yesterday was a really good example of that. Replay Game Lab. Wednesday is Tim Melvin Wednesdays, and instead of bringing him on during the trading session, we brought him on in the pre-market ahead of the trading session, and I will look to continue to try and do that here. So some of these little interviews that Zunaid runs, they're going to be kind of spotty. They'll be a little bit all over the place, but in terms of the guests that I can schedule, yes, I will be trying to schedule them before 9 a.m. So good stuff there. Okay, let's keep breaking down some of the lists. We do have the movers list to go through as well. I still had AMD Mankind. If what was his name? Let me get his name right. I'm going to screw it up if I don't look it up. Trond 15 cent. That's probably leet speak that I can't read. Trondisk. Trondisk, you wanted to take a look at Mankind. Let me just go ahead and start with that. This wasn't on my list, so I apologize if I don't have anything ready for you here. Let me see if you gave me any context in that. I think you were mentioning a couple of things there, but it was a while ago. Please pull up the 5-year chart of Mankind. Can this hit 15 within 6 to 12 months? I'm long 30,000 shares at 2. Okay. So a couple of things there. So here's the comment. Just should be able to easily reference this. First of all, I'm not going to tell you how to trade, but man, oh man, if your cost basis is 232 and we're up here at the 7, I hope that position started at bigger than 30K shares. Hopefully you've paid yourself on the way up so that you're prepared in case there's a down move here. So you let me know. Now, you asked for the 5-year chart. Here is a 6-year chart looking pretty good. You're basically asking, do I think this stock can double or at this point, double within the next 6 to 12 months? Well, let's see. If we go from the start of 2024, this stock was 329. It doubled in the course of a year. So I certainly don't want to say it's impossible, but I'm not sure what the catalysts are here for this with this not being a stock that I follow. It is on a pretty awesome run here. I do kind of think the next move might be kind of a corrective move. I would even say maybe this back down to this $7 level. And then if it can hold there, you might be in some pretty good shape. RSI here pretty high. You see the last time that the RSI was this high, we actually had a steep pullback followed by a corrective bounce, and then the larger part of the pullback, which retraced about 75% of that initial move. So I would be looking for something similar. Again, if I look at another peak here on the RSI chart, this actually marked a high about 577 in August. We did nothing but trade down to 320 there shortly after. So given the RSI spike that we're here, or that we're in right now, I suspect that the next move here is probably a regression back to the mean, but you'd have to help me out with some of those catalysts in terms of what's going to make this continue. 13, I know this wasn't on the list here. I'm just trying to answer the viewer's question. Did you have anything that you wanted to cover on Mankind, or should I move on?
No, I can speak to some of this. I don't have a float reading, so I'm not exactly sure how well this is going to trade. It looks like there's not a lot of volume usually. I'm just missing some key data here that I could give you a better view on this for you. But
so you said you don't have float data?
No, let me. I've
got 206, just about 269 million in the float. So
little refresh fixed it. Okay,
yep,
so yeah,
all good.
That float's a little bit large. Now I do see that the short interest is about 16%, and you have almost 30 days to cover that. So this could, if anything, we're going to see a squeeze out of this. But I don't know that fundamentally it's going to make sense to push higher. I don't like the way the balance sheet looks. This company has a ton of debt. negative equity on the balance sheet. They do have revenue, so that's a positive, but they kind of break even most of the time. Or they'll have a good quarter sometimes, or they'll have a little negative quarter here sometimes. It sounds like you know more about what's in the pipeline than I do, just from looking at this. It seems like they have they just completed a phase 1 therapy for lung disease. They just had phase 3 clearance to start in Japan. So there's some positives with this, but as far as the next 12 months doubling, I would have to think that it wouldn't make any fundamental sense for it to do that. It would have to be some more of a catalyst and a squeeze that could do that. So if you know of catalysts that are coming up, I think that's going to be your best bet on when to take profit. So I would just kind of focus on that. But I don't know that it's going to double us outside of a squeeze or some kind of major catalyst, because I just don't like the way the fundamentals look.
Okay. Really good stuff there, Tron. I hope that was helpful for you. Good stuff on Mankind. Okay, a couple of other stocks that people had on the list here. We'll keep running. We got 15 minutes till the market opens here. I do want to take a quick look at the movers, but let's take a look at AMD. This was another one that was mentioned here. AMD up, let's see, up about 1.5% here in the pre-market. Had a decent day yesterday. Looks like it's trying to run higher here. If I take a look at the level that it's at right now, I do like this, right? This near-term trend right here. Definitely like that. To me, I think maybe the next move here, if we continue to trade up to 162, might be your next spot. Likely to run into some resistance there at 154. That's going to be your 50-day moving average. But I'd like to see this maybe trade back towards that 200-day. As far as a stop in the downside, I think if we break this trend line to the downside, the 500-day at 126 is probably next.
Yeah, we're getting a lift in semis from the Qualcomm earnings.
Yeah. Which I cut out was actually the second stock. We also had ARM earnings this morning. ARM beaten top and the bottom line, but actually traded down. So
yeah, ARM didn't have as good of a report as Qualcomm did.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the movers here real quick, and then whatever remaining time we have, we can go over some of the other stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at our morning gappers here. First one, this is the DXZY. This is the Destiny Tech ETF. I think this is a Crow favorite. There were a number of folks in our chat here that was trading this one. DXYZ. You can see I remember that initial move to 100 and how crazy that was. Here we go, though. Just kind of looking at the chart. We'll see if we can push above. Next spot that looks pretty good for me, 31.5 to 32 on DXYZ. Do you follow or trade this 113? I can't remember. I don't know if we've talked about this one before. I didn't think so. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Let me keep rolling here on the list. The next one, guess what? Not a penny stock, not a low price stock here. Second biggest gapper of the day, ticker app. This is AppLovin. AppLovin shares are, and I can't help it. I just like every time I hear AppLovin, I think of McLovin. I think of Hawaii ID. I can't help but laugh. So if you see me laugh just randomly throughout the course of the show, you'll know exactly what that's about. App here, shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 financial results. You can see here, this is up 37.5%. This had a huge pop yesterday. This is drifting higher here today. Robert, I know you're saying, yeah, go app. You might have an existing long on this. I got to be honest with you. I'm going to take a stab at this. I think the first move out of the open here on app is probably a profit-taking move. This is up, again, just 37.5%, just an absolutely massive move here. Wouldn't be shocked if this pulled back at all. Given that, app beat on the top and the bottom line. EPS 125 beat the 94-cent estimate. Big beat there. Sales 1.198 billion versus the 1.13 billion there. And then it sees the revenue here 124 to 126 billion. Adjusted EBITDA 740 to 760 million. Authorized 2 billion in buyback. All types of good news here for app. And then this morning, you got a whole bunch of re-ratings. Looks like AppLovin price target raised to 200 from 160 at JP Morgan. Current price 231. So we're 15% above that price target there. AppLovin price target raised to 250 from 185 at Stifel. So that's pretty good. Not quite there yet. Oppenheimer went from 180 to 260 here. AppLovin just absolutely cooking here. What do you think? You got anything on this one?
I didn't really cover this one. I'm just looking at their income statement over the multiple quarters, and man, year over year, they've really grown their net income. It was 80 million back last year. This same quarter. Now it's 309. That's a huge improvement. Huge improvement to their cash flow. Balance sheet looks pretty solid. Good company. Just don't know how much more we're going to get out of this because, like you put it, it's a pretty extended move here. Off these earnings.
Yeah. Real quick here, this might be a new record. First of all, Christoph's dog is absolutely adorable, so +1 there. In fact, here we'll go ahead and give you the one up for the cute dog. Hi, I'm done for the day. Beers clinking emoji. That's amazing. It's not even 9:30 in the morning, and your workday is done. I'll tell you what. You're clinking beers at 9:30 in the morning. Celebrate because that's pretty awesome. I don't have anything like that to celebrate yet here today. Really good stuff, Christoph. Round of applause, like Replay Game Web has said.
Yeah, what did you hold overnight that you just sold that was so good?
Probably app, right? Probably app. Was this it, Christoph? Buying app around 169 yesterday, and then selling it here at almost 230 in the pre-market. We'll see how app does here today. Okay, SMCI. I know you folks were looking at SM. Oh, well, we got to keep going through this list here. Real quick, there are just a couple that I want to talk about. I actually already talked about Lyft. So we're almost done with this. And I promise we'll get to SMCI. Sarah, we already did Qualcomm. We can come back to that if we need. One of the other movers here off the list is going to be ticker CYN. Charlie Yankee November on the ticker there. This is Singen, I think, is how you pronounce that. Just a lot of a lot of consonants there with no vowels, so that kind of trips me up sometimes. Singen shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 EPS results and announced the progress of its proprietary computer vision technology for industrial autonomous machines built on NVIDIA accelerated computing. Okay, a lot there, but you can probably understand why this is up. First of all, this company does automated industrial autonomous driving. So what we mean here is forklifts that are going to like put product on shelf and move product around in warehouses. That's what this company does here. That's what the autonomous machines line is leading to. The fact that they're throwing in NVIDIA accelerated computing in the PR here, I gotta think that's contributing to the upside move here. We've seen that on some of these other names as well. So CYN popping here this morning. Let's just take a look at a couple of the things here. Short interest about 6%, not terrible. Days to cover about 3.5. Again, not crazy, but there is something there. We take a look at the insiders here. Really don't see any buying. There were a couple of grants to some different directors, but no open market buying here. Let's take a quick look at the government trades because I haven't looked at this before. Nobody in the government owns this. I guess they don't expect that to go ham anytime soon. Balance sheet here, just about 6 million in cash on the balance sheet. Yikes, they burn about 4.5 a quarter. So at some point, there's going to need to be some type of financing done here. 13, this was probably the biggest mover off of the movers list here today. Did you have anything on ticker CYN, Singen?
Well, looks like they did a 1-for-100 reverse split back on July 5th. So that has brought the float down to just over 2 million shares. So that makes it a easy candidate to move around. The news with the mentioning NVIDIA and, I think they mentioned AI as well, or they may have buzzwords abound. That's why we're getting this movement. Not too particularly fond of the financials. They're not bad. They do have cash in the bank. They just, aren't. They're just burning it pretty rapidly to the tune of 5 to 6 million a quarter. So they're going to have to raise money at some point, or they're going to have to get some more contracts, more deals. I think given the time frame that they have, they're going to need to maybe do some kind of an offering soon. Given that they have just 2 million shares in the float, that seems like the next possibility. So don't know when that's going to happen, but that's what I'd be expecting out of this one is for them to raise cash next.
Okay, really good stuff. And then as far as levels here for day trades today, 565 looks to be the first one. Maybe some more there at 570. Let's maybe call that a range. So 565 to 570, then 6, then 641. Let's go to the 15 minutes, see if we can get some other levels from here. Maybe not yet. Nope. So there you go on the levels. We have to go to the daily chart to find the next levels. Remember, this is all going to be split adjusted, which is why it looks like this. So yeah, go ahead.
It's trying to recapture VWAP in the pre-market right now, so that would be something to watch for out of the open if it's trading above that or not. Also, this seems to me like it could be a pretty crowded space going into the future for this company. I know that the question I had in my mind was where does Amazon get their autonomous warehouse robots from? So I was wondering if they maybe had anything to do with this company. Nope. They get it from kind of in-house Amazon Robotics, but also Valyo, Valyo. That's who supplies the automated forklift systems to Amazon.
Okay. So. Really good stuff there. Christoph saying, was aggressive with CYN pre-market. It starts at 10 a.m. here for me. Stay green, everyone. You got it, Christoph. Really good start to your morning, man. That is impressive. Get those positive vibes flowing early. That's exactly what we need here. Okay. Couple more mentions here. Bonsai, our good old friend Bonsai, ticker BNZI. This did have a pretty decent pre-market rip here. It's ripped from about $2 up to about $3.84. Let's see if we did that on news. Indeed, we reporting preliminary financial results, profitability in sight following the 14.5 million annualized adjusted net income improvement, 31% annualized ARR growth rate. So a pretty good PR here. Looks like news desk see preliminary Q3 net loss 900K. Okay, shares soaring on that 18.6%. Bonsai, we've seen how this one can go crazy before when we traded this off the scanner. It looks like we're setting up for another day here with ticker BNZI. GNLN, this is another one that our group has traded quite a bit right off the relative volume scanner. This looks like it is back here again today. Green Lane Holding shares are trading higher after the company announced an exclusive distribution agreement with Stripe Tech Corp to distribute Stripe's fentanyl, Xylene, and drink spike detection test strips. So looks like a test strip PR here. GNLN popping is almost as high as 360. We're actually right beneath the VWAP, so we'll see if we get one, if we get a little bit of a cross here. So good stuff there, GNLN.
Back in August.
Say again?
Traded that one back in August.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Well, let me see. Was there any update on the short interest here? Okay, 7.27% of the float shorted on one day to cover. Nobody from the government owns it. Doesn't look like we've had any, no recent insider activity, at least not in this calendar year. Financials here. Let's see. They have very, very little cash on the balance sheet, and they are burning cash every quarter. I think they're going to have to do something here with the finances. So GNLN, we'll see how this trades here today. Did you have anything else on this before I move on?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we are running through a ton of stocks here today. This is awesome. I actually feel more prepared here. Okay, SMCI is next. There were a number of people asking. I'm actually going to go back to the bigger chart tool here. Do SMCI, because I'm sure we're going to want to look at a daily chart here. Okay. So SMCI, I don't remember if you gave any context on this. SMCI, please, can I buy shares now? Well, Thu, you can do whatever you want to do. The group discussion on SMCI here, I know exactly why you're asking this question. You're saying a huge sell-off here. There was a lot of kind of fraud, accounting worries here, and you're thinking, boy, the stock is really kind of moved down. It's, totally oversold here, 2284 on the RSI reading, really low reading there. So I understand you're trying to play this here for a bounce. The group consensus here in terms of price levels, I believe, had 15 to 17 slapped on this. So if you're looking for what other people are looking at as the support area, say there's a little bit more room to go here, but at the end of the day, the risk is going to be yours to determine. So I understand. I mean, we are beneath the consolidation area before this stock really had its huge run. Of course, this is all split adjusted. So maybe, that range here, just to kind of give you some numbers on that range. That range was about 21.5 up to 35.5. And we're kind of at the bottom end of that range. So I understand. I'm going to be waiting this one out. I'll be honest. I don't feel rushed to buy anything that has recent, fresh accounting issues. What say you, 13?
Yeah, I would not want to get in the way of this one. I still think that maybe if you're looking for some kind of technical moves, be a little bit safer to get something under 20. But we still don't have any, financial reports for 2 quarters now. That what we got earlier this week, that was preliminary. That wasn't an ER. So we still have two 2 quarters of outstanding financial reports that remain to be seen. No 10K yet. No clear explanation on why the auditors jumped ship, and the SMCI comes out and says the board put together a independent special committee to review for any wrongdoing. Oh, guess what? We found we did no wrongdoing. I don't.
The board put together a committee to say that the board didn't do anything wrong.
I don't want to touch this thing until I get some more information. At the very least, market's open. At the very least, there's a technical trade here, but I don't think there's anything that I want to get in front of fundamentals.
Okay. Good stuff there. We are open, as 13 said. Let's go over to the main workspace here and go ahead and see what's moving on here. Sheldon from Twitter saying, sell me on Benzinga Pro. This is easy, dude. You want a real-time newswire, audio squawk, community, scanners, charting all in one package? Benzinga Pro is the answer, my man. The other thing is you can try it out and sell it to yourself at no cost. No cost. I'll see if my teammate James is around. He's also really adept at finding sales on stuff. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look here. GNLN, first one I'm seeing on my list here, looks like that move lower down to that 3 handle.
CY.
I was going to say, how's CYN doing?
That's it tried to push up over VWAP, losing it, coming down into the bottom area of the pre-market consolidation. We'll see where this one goes. We could lose 5 out of the gate on this one, I would think. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, so looking at this chart here, $5, I wouldn't be surprised this is support. But Smoke Tuna, I'm pretty sure I got a bonjour earlier. I did. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. It's great to see you here today. Let me know what you think here about 5 support. To me, that sure looks like if we come down there, that would be pretty good. That should be pretty good.
And then let's see. What else are we looking at here?
Sarah, thank you. I didn't mention that. Almost every piece of data in Pro is exportable to Excel. I knew, I used to say every presentation I used to do, there was always some Excel wizard out there. I'm thrilled that you brought this up. Thank you.
So looking at GNLN, that's still not able to recapture VWAP. That actually looks like this one could be going lower as well.
Look at Intel popping out of the gate here on Intel INTC.
What's going on with this?
Sorry, just adjusting my signals tool. Didn't actually look at the news yet.
Lyft teams up with Intel's Mobileye. I thought they spun that off. Tesla gears up to enter autonomous ride-hailing market.
Capital Markets Day. So it looks like event here. Intel Mobileye, December 9 and 10.
CLSK says Parker's Think or Swim. That's got a nice pop, went all the way up to 1308. Are we getting a little bit of a push in Bitcoin here? Yeah, kind of, but looks like it's trying to. It got up to 75K and came right back in. 75K has been a pretty important level ever since we had that the election.
All right, CLSK here, this on that Bitcoin, this popping to those pre-market highs. Watch 1310 for a possible level here on CLSK. No position for me on this. I'm still kind of waiting out the opening print. By the way, Smoke Tuna, appreciate you. Direct answer to my question earlier. CYN support 519 is what Tuna has. I have 5 beneath that as well.
Lunar is taking off. It looks like there is a active stake being taken by I don't want to pronounce this person's name, but the first name is Kamal Ghaffarian, I guess is how you pronounce his last name. 40.8%. That's how much of the stock he has.
Yeah, Kamal Ghaffarian. I think you did really well with that. That's how I would have pronounced it.
So it looks like that's given a push to Lunar, which has a pretty high short interest. Low days to cover, but man, 52.61% short. That's
coming in the face of lots of recent selling from insiders too. A bunch of directors and the senior vice president. That's interesting there. Okay.
I mentioned, but IonQ is popping. Air stocks market saying Guild, Tem, and Caper.
Oh my God. Look at Bros. Look at Bros. Dutch Bros shares trading higher after company reported better than expected Q3 financial results and raised forward year 24 revenue guidance above estimates. What a move here on Bros. We talked about a potential trade here on this recently. Wow. Big move here.
So I'm kind of curious as to why those
That's
insiders were absolutely dumping this stock.
Me too. Me too. That sure makes them look not well timed, doesn't it? Look at this move. Look at this move. You know, when I was playing this the last time here with calls, I was looking for a breakout here of the 200-day and maybe a gap fill up to this 38 level. Gosh, this earnings took us 10 points ahead of that. Wow, broke just a huge move here on Bros. Grats to anyone that had this. I wish I had this overnight. I did not.
Sony, they reverse split SQQQ.
Should trade better now that it did that, by the way.
Trading lower initially.
I just mean like the back and forth should be easier to trade that, not necessarily the direction, but yeah, you're right.
I'm just messing with you.
You got me. You got me. I got it here. Let's see where CYN is. CYN still flirting with that VWAP, although it is beneath it. Zillow, we talked about this one. This looked like this is continuing to move higher after that after hours pop and that pre-market drift higher. Opening now. Higher we go on Zillow.
And there's a gap fill coming for Zillow if it keeps pushing up. That will be from 76.36 to 84.62.
TNYA, Tenaya Therapeutics, big pop here out of the gate. Nice 20-cent move. DXZY is halted, so that future DYZX. God. Can't get this right to save my life. Holy smokes. What on earth is going XZ? Boy, I really screwed that one up. DXYZ. Why can't I get this right?
Saying CYN, watch 490, see if it holds. We're certainly looking, it certainly looks like it's going to come down to under 5. 490 is the spot, you say? We'll see.
On CYN?
Yes.
Okay.
Still not able to hold above VWAP. Out of the gate, we lost it after briefly capturing it. That's going to be the story for this one at the moment, getting above that VWAP.
LYFT Lyft going higher here after that earnings report. Also, again, just some more context on that report that made it so good. Record number of unique riders last quarter. And they saw a surge of weekday riders, so perhaps the return to office helping Lyft out here. Higher we go. 19 looks to be the next spot on Lyft.
Parker's mentioning the prison stock Geo. That was a really good one. We talked a lot about that as well.
Yeah, we did.
That always makes me think of AXON, the manufacturer of those cop cams, body cameras. This one actually looks like it may be topping out, kind of putting in a bit of a bearish formation here. We get another one of these dojis about the same level as the one from yesterday. That's a TriStar doji. It's a bearish formation. We could end up coming back down if we end up getting that. So
interesting.
Watch for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So here you go. Nice little trade. I love when you give trade setups ahead of the possible entry here. You get a doji here today and another one tomorrow. You're looking at a possible short entry there. Axon.
That could be because this thing has also run quite a bit as well.
Sure has. Plus we have a gap down here to 440.
Yeah. There's a lot of nice things to like about a short for AXON. Still like the company though. It could end up going higher, so just be careful. Okay. But it looks like we are. It is temporarily topping out here.
Okay. ENSC penny stock running off the gate here. SR, I'll take this. Coming in late today, but just wanted to say the vibe of your show is positive, practical. It's really great. Thanks, guys, for being sane and showing us all how to be relaxed and respectful. SR, first of all, your cat is absolutely adorable. I've had a black cat, too, one of my favorites, so props to you. But really, really like these comments. This is the exact vibe that we're going for. So the fact that you're able to kind of detect this and you want to kind of mention this aloud, we really appreciate that. That is positive confirmation that 13 and I are doing something right here.
I just want everybody to win.
Me too. Like this game has never been about me beating other people. It's been about empowering and lifting everyone up, not just myself. I initially got into this whole thing because I really wanted to help my mother.
BIVI
Anyway.
smoke. Sorry to switch gears on you.
It's all good.
Giving us a heartfelt, and I'm looking like, oh, BIVI. That's
Let's watch what's trading. That's what we're here for.
So yeah, just getting a mention that from Smoke Tuna. It's setting up. I don't know. I think it needs to recapture. I think I'd like to see it recapture 270 first. It's still beneath VWAP, but you might be right.
The VWAP level I have is 270, by the way, so that would make a lot of sense to me.
WBuy is popping, says RX.
Yeah, WBuy is a penny stock. That's a 30-cent penny stock.
Gotcha.
It did pop off the VWAP, but you're absolutely right.
Is he mentioning Frey? Battery company, I believe.
Yep, and that actually double top here with the pre-market level. That actually went to 219. Looks like the print was 217 off the open here.
Okay, so I don't know anything about what how much batteries they produce or anything like that. Looks like they're acquiring a company, Trina Solar.
Look at App. Sorry to change gears on you, 13 ticker APP. This is now up 44.5%. So much for the selling at the open. That was my call, right? I said I thought we might see some profit taking. Maybe we'll erase some of this pre-market drift. No, it's the opposite here. New highs. I gotta think that this is going to be setting up for a short at some point. You have some tremendous momentum to the upside right now, though.
You want to have your mind blown? Look at the monthly chart of this thing is so parabolic.
Look at this. That is vertical, folks. Oh my gosh. Let me just start. I just want to take a peek at the option chain. And tomorrow's Friday. You know what else? You know what? I'm doing this right now. I'm gonna ask you folks for help, but I'm gonna put this on my list to ask Anne-Marie tomorrow about a potential trade here. Let me just go to my note page here. APP. Okay, I'm gonna ask her about this because this might be something we can do. Looking at the chain here, not a whole lot of volume in this.
It's so extended, like on the monthly chart, it is so extended. 91 RSI. The 20-month SMA is 238% away from the current price. I'm sure it's a great company, and I'm sure that the move is justified to some capacity, but the valuation doesn't make sense. And I think this will, come back into a more realistic valuation. But I don't think this company is bad by any stretch of the imagination. We just need to see a little bit better valuation because this is crazy. Z ripping.
Yeah, it was. We covered Zillow here in the morning. By the way, 13. So real quickly here on Zillow, just for some context, just to know what's going on here. Zillow reported earnings yesterday, traded up here, held it in the pre-market, now up out of the gate. What's interesting about this is Opendoor actually reports tonight. So we had a question from Lion Atlas earlier asking if there's anything that we can take from Zillow to Opendoor. Can you recall the last time we talked to Felicia, which is our real estate expert, wasn't she telling us that Zillow was eating the lunch of everybody else out there? Do you recall that?
That sounds familiar. Like that might be the case. So Opendoor might do worse, is what you're getting at?
Yeah, I'm trying to determine, do we have a sympathy play here in Open where it trades up in sympathy with Zillow because they're similar, or do we have Zillow is just beating the brakes off of everybody that Opendoor is not likely to show relative outperformance?
I don't have a solid answer for you on that, but I would have to say if you could bother Felicia for a little bit of information.
Sure.
We might have something to discuss in happy hour.
Yeah, I will absolutely do that. Under Armour, by the way, UA and UAA, both of those trading higher here. They actually look like they might take out the pre-market top there.
Frey, this one looks like it's starting to get going here. Looking for a break over 216. Need some more volume in this one for that breakout, though.
Devs, new IPO Whisk. Good stuff here. This is a new IPO. This halted to the downside, it looks like, on Devs. Ticker DEVS. I don't have any line on this one, Wiss.
Well, you know what, Replay Game Lab, that might be a positive for Z because if we're going to be seeing more interest rate cuts today, I'll just put that bullet point there. That could be good for Z then, because REITs respond very well to rate cuts. Looks like TNYA, that popped as high as 253, and then the very next 5-minute candle, it came right back in beneath VWAP at night. So it looks like we're trying to get some support down from the pre-market price action.
This might set up for another trade. I think Smoke Tuna was on this pretty early. I think I got to it late is what happened here. I think it was on this breakout from those pre-market highs. Let's see if this sets up again, though.
All right, here's CYN down at that at Smoke Tuna 490. Well, actually, we're through that Smoke Tuna 490 level. What's the thought here, Smoke Tuna? Is that going to are we going to see a turnaround here, or how does it look to you? To me, this is really close to where I would be looking for it to potentially bounce, and if not here, then maybe 420.
Yeah, 483, your low print here of the day. I don't really see any support beneath it. Maybe a little bit there at 480. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to try and come back up. And if it does reverse here, at the very least, I think it would try and come back up and test a VWAP. Whether it breaks through or not, I don't know. Looks like Archer still having a nice run here, really moving.
I wonder if there's a trade here on Archer. ACH, yeah, ARCH? Nope. ACHR. I had it right the first time, 13. Damn it. Here you go. Okay, maybe intraday break to the highs here, ACHR.
Yeah, so this 350 level, this is a pretty interesting resistance area that it's making its way through. Go to a daily chart, you can see that we've been trying in October, was trying to get back above 350. 2 rejections there today, not so much. Breaking through that 350 resistance level. You need to see it close above that, and you can maybe anticipate some more upside if we do.
I got 396 as the next level up here, 13.
Yeah, that's where the late August highs were.
Yeah, bingo.
Mm-hmm.
Bingo.
And you know what? I'm sorry we haven't been doing it, thinking about it. We haven't looked at pets yet, and it's ripping.
Here. Let me do that right now. Thanks for keeping me in line here. This is why I rely on you folks. This is why I rely on you folks. PetMed Express. Oh my God, you're not kidding. This is ripping on volume here. What's going on? Ticker PETS. Looks like they reported earnings last night. Okay. Mixed report here. Beats on EPS, missed on sales. Actually missed by like 6 million and change.
Oh wow. Okay, so the daily chart might be telling us something here. That is a nice breakout over the 200-day SMA.
Here, let me get my bigger. Let me go intraday here. Let me get my bigger chart here. PETS.
Yeah, this was hammering that moving average for the past few, actually all week.
Look at that. Yeah.
And then yesterday it opened over it and closed beneath it, and then we got earnings and it blasted off. Let's see. I would think maybe a little bit above $5, like 509. That could be a potential resistance spot today. So, and that I'm drawing from the highs of May 14th. That was 509. Yeah. So that would be one spot where we could get resistance. Another one is potentially 550.
I would say above that I'm actually going to mark this off in case this comes back. 675 previous double bottom support level. I know that's a ways above some of the targets you were just giving, 13, but you know what? If we continue this, might as well have that one marked off as well. Smoke Tuna's back on Tanya, TNYA. So that, remember, that set up TNY. Oh, I put that in the wrong stupid window. Stupid Ryan. And NMHI, this was a penny stock whiskey. You were mentioning that one. TNYA, let me go to that here real quick. Here you go. Wow. Big move through that VWAP. How do you trade this one, though? This kind of a crappy move. We lost the VWAP. We really kind of flushed and then took it right back above it.
BIVI, this was the one, I believe it was Smoke Tuna that was mentioned. Yes, okay, he just mentioned it again. So here we are. We might be breaking out here above this 275 breakout level. I think that's what we're looking at here with this one. Because you can see that in the pre-market, we were trying to breach that as well. Do you have VWAP there?
Yeah, on my chart here, I've got VWAP at 270 on BIVI.
Okay, so that one's a little bit higher than mine. I'm currently above VWAP and above the EMAs, so this level here that we've been trying to get above in pre-market. This is the test here. Got to break out.
I'm above all of that as well. Above all of those EMAs that you use and the VWAP here. Boom, boom, boom.
Motion Clove has been, one of those that you wanted to pick up and kind of just hold. I don't know that it would have necessarily been the best day trades, but I think there was a lot of talk about it already about how this could it's a good company going forward. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to give the wild price action that we're looking for day trades. Good longer hold though. ACH.
Sorry. No, you.
No, I don't. Hi, Ryan, are you there? I don't hear you. Why don't you go ahead?
ACHR, good mention here in the chat. Sorry about that. ACHR really kind of popping the top off here. Izzy mentioning this is on fire. You're asking about if there's leaked earnings. I mean, maybe somebody knows something. We see this, though, sometimes. We see stocks really kind of trade into earnings. They did release this piece of news ahead of earnings. So, I mean, maybe if you kind of view that as a positive to this here. Archer, this is clearly ripping here. Looks like this upside break. I'll tell you what, get me back to an environment where these intraday upside breaks hold just like this. Because for me, like when I'm day trading, especially when I'm doing a scalping, I'm going to try to bring on other traders here to discuss scalping strategies as well. But one of the scalping strategies that's really worked for me is when the market is being cooperative, these upside range breaks are generally pretty awesome. And if you look what happened here on Archer, we broke that, we back tested it, then the volume stepped in and we got this other move higher. So this is the type of action that I'm looking for on some of these smaller names. No position here on Archer, but this one looking pretty good.
Yeah, let's see where we I'm looking for a lot more in this one, obviously, but I don't know if you recall, Ryan, when I was talking about the Head and Shoulders back in July. We were going to resolve to down to 3, maybe a little bit lower, and we ended up getting that. So here we are. This is the part where we start to turn around. Maybe we trade up higher since we're A, getting rate cuts. B, we have president-elect who's seemingly on the side of technology like this. So I think that we'll probably get a little bit more price action to the upside going forward. First level we need to get past here for me, though, is going to be this 200 EMA, which I currently have at just under 385.
Okay, really good stuff there. We'll see. I got the 100-day here at 361, 200-day at 394.
Robert saying App, Z, and Geo.
Those are your big rippers. That and Bros. Those are probably your 4 biggest movers here today. Zillow up 24% almost. App up 48%. Oh my, this is just no chill here. And so here's the other thing. This is why when I was telling you earlier, shorting, I don't really know. I know it's extended here. I don't really know. Jumping in front of a momentum move to the upside, not great for your P&L. Well, I would say at this point, I do think there's going to be a short here. We probably want that to confirm before we try to be a hero.
FFIE getting mentioned. Faraday future. This one, kind of having a rip right now. And I would say might be actually at a resistance area. If not here, then probably a little bit higher, closer to 230. That would be my guess.
Look at Amazon. We got another mention here. Amazon Replay Game Lab all over this. Amazon ripping here today. Just absolutely. Now that 200 wall is gone, it's time to discover another price level higher here. AMZN continuing to trade up.
Yeah, I have my concerns.
Oh my God, Tuna, what was your support level on this again? I can't remember. Was this looks like 483. This was your pre-market bottom stick here. It bounced right off of that. VWAP here, 541 CYN. We'll see if we get back up there. This actually looks pretty decent.
Yeah, that bounced right off the 65 EMA.
Yeah, I want to see some more of this expanding volume here. We'll see if we get that here. But man, oh man, I feel like Tuna's call was right in this area here. He
absolutely nailed it. Absolutely. AMD looking for 150. Also, we have other names too that are in the semiconductor space that are doing pretty well. Looks like we got a bounce for IBM that reverse, but I still think this is going to end up going lower. We have, so you were mentioning Intel earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me bring that up here real quick while we're talking about it.
That's currently gap filling. Gap fills at 28.89. I know there was a couple others that I saw, but I can't remember which ones they were. They'll come back to me. That's TSM looking today. That one's looking pretty good as well. That one actually recaptured the 20-day SMA again. This one needs to actually get back over 200, I believe. TSM is rolling. Yep. ASPI climbing, says CDOT.
ASPI, that was.
This is the one he likes. The one that we had a pop over 9.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like it's actually trying to come back up to those highs, and if we do get some good volume going up there, we could break through that last high that we put in on October 30th.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a volume thing for that one, though. Geo finding, kind of hanging out up here. Looks like it's just kind of gearing up to push up to the next level. Just looks that way. What else here?
Looking around here.
ACHR is still pushing up. Let's see where this one ends up going today. Let me see here. If we keep up with this momentum, I would think that 385 level for Archer, that would be the next resistance spot I would have here. Somewhere in there, 380 to 385.
Yeah, let me see here. ACHR. Let's see if we keep rolling. Zillow keeps crushing. Look at Archer, man. Wow. CYN stopped here right back at 5. I think if that recrosses 5, maybe there's some more move there.
Yashwant wants to take a look at Tesla.
Totally get it.
Not as much movement today as there was yesterday. It is very extended too. So maybe this goes sideways for a little bit. Let's see. Let's look at some levels to the upside. 300 seems like the next one. Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Cup and handle on the Qs. Take a look at that.
9 getting mentioned here by Smoke Tuna. Looks like we might be setting some more new highs there on NINE.
Now, is this on the daily for the Qs? Because if we're going to get a handle, this thing needs to come in some more. Unless you wanted to count that price action at the end of October as the handle. It's a pretty short handle. Anyway, breaking out over that
Archer calls getting bought, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Archer calls getting bought. Moderna puts getting bought after that move higher. How did Moderna do out of the open here? Interesting. It gave it back. So I wonder how that strangle ended up. Probably had to sell that pretty quick, or triage it on the way out. Maybe sell each leg individually.
Looks like CLSK just with the recapture of VWAP. This one might be trying to go higher, but I don't like the wicks from the past 2 5-minute candles. If it can hold VWAP, we might be able to take out this 1320 again here. Archer just keeps going.
Bros also looks like Bros traded up to that 49. We'll see if 49 gets taken out again. This thing seems to have a 50 magnet in it on Bros.
Geo new highs, popped to 23.27 and came back in a little bit. Volume is kind of drifting on this one, and the MACD, not quite yet, but I'm watching the MACD to see if it's going to give us an indication of it curling over.
Here is TNYA. We'll see if this gets above 250.
CYN back down to the 65.
Give me 1 second. PRB.
No worries. Wow, Wes, that's a nice move. If you captured all that 120% on NMHI, let me see what that looks like. NMHI. What was the thought here with this one? Oh, wow. This thing was absolutely hammered. So it was just a lot of basing in this one. 13 million share float. Launches EV business in US and South America. Okay, so wow. Didn't see this one. Great job. That's a huge move. I guess maybe because it's a penny stock and I don't really pay attention to those. Glad you do, though. You made a killing on this one.
Okay, sorry about that. 13.
No worries. And market pushes ever higher. We're probably going to have even bigger moves to the downside next year.
Lynn, we start at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Eastern. That is 7 a.m. Central for you. Britt, good morning, CDNS.
Izzy saying AAP just got a sell rating. Consistency as asking any inputs on Logi. I'll look at AAP and then LOGI.
Okay. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy. Good morning, y'all. Good luck today. Off to drive airboat tours. See y'all in the morning to trade. Dude, you seem like you have a really awesome life. I'm just going to throw that out there. That is pretty awesome. Let me know how those airboat tours go. Britt, you were saying CDNS. Did I get it right here? I think so. CDNS looking pretty good here. This has been a huge move here so far on CDNS. And actually, now that we're kind of holding 300, if this continues here, I think you would probably on a date with 320 pretty soon. See if this kind of comes back in. Let me take a look at the bigger chart here and see what our RSI rating is. Maybe I should just add RSI to that other chart. That might be something to do. Let's see here. CDNS. It's still got some more room to run, I feel like.
I'm not seeing the sell rating on AAP, but I do. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I got the ticker wrong. It's APP, app. Okay, well, that one's running, so I would imagine that this is going to get a sell. Okay, so benchmark. There it is. Sell on AppLovin. Wow. $66 price target. Well, benchmark is obviously the party pooper here because everybody else thinks this thing is over 200.
The party pooper. Take that. CYN, by the way, breaking down here. Real quick. Lynn, just to be clear, there is only one show now. With Dennis and Joel moving off to do their own thing, there is only one show now. It is Benzinga Market Edge, and it starts at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. It just rolls right into live trading. It's actually really good because we have more time to prepare for the actual trading session, and we're able to involve you in the community a little bit more and do interviews and guests in the morning. So anyway.
And then also there was CYN is done for the morning. Okay.
It feels like that. It really just kind of rolled over here. App flagging here, plus 47.5%.
And then I was going to take a look at LOGI.
Logitech. Probably used more Logitech peripherals for my computer than any other company. Razer a close second.
I don't see any recent news.
Lyft pulling back to the VWAP. I actually might take this for a bounce here if we get to that VWAP. Ticker LYFT on Lyft.
Anyone in hollow?
Uh-oh, here we go.
All right, well, let's see if this is the move. There's a lot more volume than this.
Chris, much appreciate that. I'm with you. Like them both too, but we got our own vibe. We got our own thing to do here. Appreciate you, Chris. Also, I mean, look, hockey fans. I mean, come on, Chris. You play hockey. You can't possibly be wrong. That's awesome.
Replay. That's the ticket, man. I mean, you got to sell into the strength.
I sold half of my TNO over the past 2 days. I still think it's going to 240, but I like profits. Look, selling into strength is the way to go. You can always rebuy if you need to. Chris, also bringing up SQQQ here. Anyone else have SQQQ in their trade pool accounts that held overnight? They messed up and I have a huge gain. Thanks. Did not have that overnight, but there you go. Take that SQQQ reverse split here.
Yep. All right, what's next here? Lunar, that thing pushed up to 873, now coming back down for a VWAP test. What are we looking at, folks?
I'm looking at Lyft here. Lyft came back into the VWAP here. I'm like kind of waiting. It got it's just a starter there. I'd really like to maybe see this come into that 1830 again, maybe load up some more. But Lyft VWAP pull here. I think this might go back towards the highs.
CDOT AMLX had earnings. They beat their EPS estimate, but their sales wasn't a beat. But a big improvement over EPS. I believe that's why it's moving. They were expected to report a loss of 71 cents a share. They reported a loss of 53 cents a share.
Look at the move down here on PLTR. Was this on news or is this just a?
There it is.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew that was coming. Oh my. Jeffries downgrades Palantir with underperform, maintaining a price target of 28. Okay, so the Jeffries downgrade, that might be starting this here. Anthropic partners with Palantir. Oh, okay, so Anthropic, that's going to be one of those AI companies that we're waiting to IPO. Palantir here. So we just talked about this. So I'm not in a short for this. Let's see what happens throughout the course of the day. But ideally, I'll tell you what, if we could pull this stock back to 47, I'd probably try for a long side trade there.
Government and defense operations.
Wow.
Amazon's involved with that too. AI models to AWS.
Come on, Lyft. Come on. We came back in towards that VWAP. Let's pop this area up and go back higher. There we go.
Oh,
come on, Lyft.
SoundHound getting a mention.
It's Chris saying, thank you for that downgrade. I'm short on Palantir and I was getting Chris, I'm sorry for laughing, but just the way that you say some of these things, it's really hilarious to me. Good stuff. Glad it's working out for you. Come on, Lyft. Lyft wants to go. Just go.
It wants to lift higher. SoundHound, this one getting some movement. It's a little slow moving, but if we keep going up, I have 650 as the next upside target.
Jay, right. Good morning. Good to see you here. DXYZ, where's Crow? He's cawing somewhere. That much I can for sure tell you. DXYZ having a monster day here. Currently in this Lyft trade, looking for a bounce to the highs. I'm going to screw this up again, aren't I? DXYZ, right? DXYZ. Yes. Look at this move. Jay, I actually think that this might move back towards 28, right? Don't you think that this is a potential move back towards the highs here? Sure looks like it. Let's watch if this thing can take out 26. I think 28's next.
That's flagging. That looks like that's going higher.
Yeah, exactly.
You can draw a trend line at the top of the peaks, and that will give you your breakout location.
All right, Lyft, let's go. 1875. We're going to peel half, leave the trailer on for the move higher here. Lyft, so far, this trade has worked. There's Crow. Caw, baby. Caw. Let's go, Crow. Good morning, folks. Nice little bounce trade here in Lyft. Gonna sit on the offer there. 1875 is where I'm looking to sell half here. Stop at break even. Oh, smoke tuna. It's the last three letters of the alphabet with a D in front of it. Dude, this is going to make it so much easier for me to remember. XYZ. DXYZ. Smoke tuna, dude. What would we do without you? Honestly. That might be the best pro tip of the day. Lyft coming back in here. Bummer. Let's see if we can hold.
All right. What's going on here? Trying to find something. Brewed $100. Holy cow!
Did it?
No, he's saying it's going to go to $100.
Oh, I was like, did it really print 100? It just backed off of 100. How the hell did it get back up there? Lululemon puts.
Lululemon, that would make sense. I mean, oh wait, no, that thing has already come down a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, this has actually come off the bottom. I'm wondering what the next move here is on Lulu. I wonder if this is going to find some type of resistance at about 330.
Yeah, resistance at the 200-day SMA, and if you draw a line at that 330 you mentioned, you can see how that was a support area back in
Bingo.
April, and then it became a resistance area in June.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm gonna add that line to this chart because I'm sure we're gonna come back to Lululemon. It's holiday season. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. By the way, for any of you, I'm not even sponsored by this company, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. We'll see how this goes. For any of you that kind of like Lulu type clothing, I'm not fond of I love hoodies. I'm a big hoodie guy. I am not fond of Lulu's hoodies. I really think they leave a lot to be desired, especially for the price that they are. Check out a company called Legends. Very, very similar. I believe it's owned by several athletes. Their hoodies are some of the best. Just absolutely awesome. So anyway, just as kind of an aside there. App is flying still. Dude, the stock is up 52.5%. Holy smokes. Okay, I got to be honest with you. I was wrong on app. I had said, maybe we get some profit taking and you get a little bit of a pullback, regression back to the mean here. No, forget that. This thing's going higher here. App running away without me.
Lunar is kind of interesting. I'm looking at a daily chart, and this is trying to push past the October highs. So we could end up getting into the 9 handle, maybe even a little bit further into the 9 handle. If we get this move out of the October highs area. I think break over 880 would be good. We need to see some more volume though.
And this is Lunar here. Okay, really, really good stuff.
If you look at it, if you look at the daily chart, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Really, really good stuff. And Lyft, let's go. Let's sell half here. Let's sell half here. 1875, where I'm looking to sell half, right at the resistance area. Let's pop above 19, close the rest of this out. Got your trade plan here for Lyft, LYFT.
All right. Oh, let's switch back to that. Man, looks like GEO may get a little bit of a pullback here. I don't know how much.
That's the Trump private prison stock here. Yep, here you go.
Lunar still going, pushing through that. It actually took out 880 pretty well there. Lunar.
Let me go to Lunar here. It's not. I'm sorry. I'm watching this.
It's okay.
Just making sure my Lyft trade gets. I swear, if it Zunades me here and I get just absolutely pulled 1 cent prior to where I'm trying to book some of my gains, I think I reserve the right to be upset. And Zunades coming back to join us here, so I'll tell him how I got Zunaded too. He'll get a good laugh out of that.
CLSK, this is trying to break the intraday high. Actually, we did print a little bit higher, but it came right back in.
Bros new highs too. Good Lord, folks.
Wow.
Here is CLSK. That did break that high by what, a penny, it looks like?
Yeah, it came right back in, but it could still push up, but the volume needs to be better. Volume needs to be better.
NMHI, oh my God. So, Luis, you know me and my penny stocks and how I don't like them and don't trend. Congrats to anyone here that was on NMHI. This pushing to the highs here, 35 cents. I'll pass on this. Got some bigger ones, but this was a good call, Luis. You were all over this in the low teens. All over it. Well done. ARM getting mentioned here. Izzy's all over it. Oh my God. Dude. So here, thanks for bringing this up because we had talked about ARM here. We also talked about this possibly pulling back to 131 and giving us entry. Nope. We're higher we go here. So those earnings that were actually pretty good, kind of wondering why the reaction was poor. Well, I'll tell you what, the market, the equalizer here today, ARM ripping. You're right. Holy is right. Hey, Lyft. Let's go. Half sold here. Gains booked. LYFT. Stop at break even. Can't possibly lose.
It might be going for 176, ARM. I think it likes the Evercore price target the best because it blew through all the other ones.
Izzy in at 144. In honor of your avatar, here we go. I look. I don't even know if I want to admit this.
Breaks above 150 and somebody everybody loses their mind.
That was really good, actually. Oh my God. So there was a period, I like Dark Knight so much that there was a period where I would just throw it on in the evening, especially like later in the week, Thursday or Friday, throw it. And you could tell like, yeah, you just throw that on, have a couple of drinks. I mean, you could tell how late I stayed up the night before, just by checking in on, because I was just, oh, that movie's so good. It's so good. Anyway,
Every time that Ryan rolls into the show with dark circles under his eyes, we'll be like, "Oh, Dark Knight again."
Dark Knight, was it a Dark Knight night?
It's a Dark Knight, Ryan. Lunar 890. This thing really. Somebody mentioned it. That it was squeezing. Yeah, it certainly is. Kale, certainly squeezing now. Really, because we just needed to get past that 880. Now we're above the October highs. Let's see where we can. And I still think 9 is on the table here. That actually might be the next resistance spot. But if we can push through 950 is for sure going to be the next one. All right. That the prison stocks still well, actually we turned around a little bit, but we went as high as 2369. CLSK with the breakout.
Lunar is breaking out, dude.
Here comes 9 in Lunar.
Yep, and look at this daily chart. This looks good. You know what else? Yeah. Another L stock that was breaking out recently was Lumen. Let's check in on that. Look at this. This broke out from that 775 and went. We might see something similar here on Lumen.
That's impressive for that kind of float to move. But I think there was a little bit of a short interest in there as well, wasn't there?
Okay, yeah. In which one? In Lumen?
Yeah, 9%. Not huge amounts like Lunar, but
yeah. I was gonna say Lunar's the one with the high share. You got it though. You got it. You're right.
Lumen with 730 million shares in the float. So it's quite impressive to see that it get pushed up this high and hold. Here comes more with CLSK.
All right, I'm gonna look around here while you're doing that. Swing account is rocking again.
SMC high looking for 24. We're looking for some earnings reports. At least I am. I want to know what's going on. Why are auditors walking away from this company?
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd want to hold something like that that's it doesn't pay a dividend and has that kind of news.
Ari stock market. I love when we're flooding the chat with positivity here. My biggest position is rocking 12K shares of Gilead, and it is popping here today. Actually, I haven't even looked at Gilead here, but we are happy for you, Ari stocks. Let's effing go. Nice little pop here on earnings. You must be a happy camper here today, man. Good stuff there.
There's 906 in Lunar. So we got that. Now we're going to, and of course, we're getting some resistance because we were talking about how 9 was going to be a resistance area. So,
sorry,
this is Lunar.
Yeah, I know.
So now that we're through that, the next step that we want to see is, I guess, a little bit of consolidation, probably a slight pullback. But I think after maybe a 5 to 10 minutes, this thing's going to be pushing up again to 950. If it can hold these levels. Looks like we've got a pretty big size in here at 897. So that could help push it down. But I feel like it's going to try to recapture 9 in short order. So we'll watch for that.
Good stuff there. I like the expanding volume here. Each bucket of volume here is bigger than the last. Definitely positive for some more upside here. Ticker LUNR. The other one getting mentioned here is going to be SMCI. Like you were saying earlier, where's their earnings reports? I don't know, but SMCI bouncing. It looks like off what? Just 22 and a quarter here. So it looks like 24 tests coming on SMCI. This is actually a former zone there. And then there was another one. Lyft kind of stalling, by the way, so I don't know if we're gonna get that push above 19. I'm gonna raise my stop a little bit on the trailer piece. We've already booked some of that. And then Tesla. Sorry, Tesla was really quick here, 13. I'll turn it over to you. Come on. I gotta click on the right ticker. Let's go. Tesla here, big rip out of the gate. Nice little profit take right out of the open, and a pop to new highs. 300 next here on Tesla for sure. We'll see where we go next. After that, I think I got 312 and a half.
For SMCI, I think this is just going to be, going off technicals. We had a low RSI, so we're getting a bounce there. $20 was a psychological level, so The low from yesterday was actually 2020. So I think that's what we're seeing here are just technical movements, because there's nothing fundamental about what we're seeing with this company right now.
Jay Rice here. Hope you guys don't feel bad. Was watching Joel and Triple D this. No, we absolutely do not feel bad. Those are friends of mine. You do what prepares you for the market. Chaikin was the guest. Mentioned this name, AUR, self-driving, two guys from Google and Tesla, and I bought a little. Okay, so you're talking about ticker AUR. This is an idea here for the group. And you're saying that this is autonomous driving, and it took two people from Google and Tesla. That is definitely a positive thing here. 5 actually looks like their most recent support here, Jay. This is not one I'm familiar with, but I appreciate you bringing this to the group here.
Over 1 billion shares in the float. Company loses millions every quarter, hundreds of millions. No revenue.
Market cap of 9.8 bill. Yeah, what was the thesis here?
Well, it's autonomous driving.
Yeah, no, yeah. He said, and Jay here, do your own research. Absolutely. And we're gonna do it here. I do appreciate you bringing this in though. 50% institutional ownership.
Are they
ahead? On my list to do some more research, 13. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, are they ahead or behind Tesla? I'd imagine they're behind, like really behind. I guess I'm a little skeptical when I see the financials. When I think about where they're at in the industry, like they don't have any revenue. They have no products. How long? I mean, I think this would be something to watch before stepping into it, because I feel like this is going to go lower because the company doesn't make any money and it's going to need to raise cash. It doesn't need to do that right now. It's got $263 million in the bank, according to their most recent balance sheet report. But that's about how much they lose. They lose slightly less than that every quarter. So I don't know. I color me skeptical for now, but yeah, maybe in the future it'll be better.
3 days ago, well, I'm interested in anything that Chaikin is on. I'm definitely interested in that. That's got my curiosity peaked. 3 days ago, Goldman with a sell rating on this, price target at 250. I think he'd probably be doing pretty good. Waiting for a pullback here. Definitely add it to my watch list. Let's see what happens if this pulls back to 5.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like this play isn't worth our time or anything. It most definitely is. I just think at this current point in time, I don't think we want.
Look, Mark Chaikin's been around for a long time. He's a very, very bright guy. If he's going to bring an idea, I'm not going to poo-poo it immediately. I'm going to at least look into it.
Yeah, I would like to. I'd have to go and watch and see what he said, because I'd like to know what the angle he sees here that has him so bullish on it. Because my first snapshot here doesn't look great. Looks like it could be good in the future, but it's not something I'd buy right now. Great story for future. There, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That seems to be the consensus here. But look, we just had a discussion and a little bit of kind of surface research thanks to the mention here. Keep doing that. That will make the group smarter. That's what we're after here. By the way, ELF, after that earnings pop here, a little bit lower on that move back to balance, and then also a little bit of a pull on the open. But this back above VWAP, would not be shocked if this continues up here. 125 on ELF. I was wrong on this when I thought that this was going to break 100. We actually double tested that level and held. So I think maybe it is time to go a little bit higher here. Just kind of looking at this 125 call for December, 690 asks. It doesn't really seem like that's totally mispriced. Implied volatility 62%, totally manageable there. It's interesting here on ELF. I'll let you know if I fill a swing on this one.
Parker's Thinker Swim. Bitcoin is actually not at all-time highs. The all-time high in Bitcoin is 76,514. We are at 75,370s right now. Not too far away. But we hit that high yesterday.
Tanya here, TNYA Smoke Tuna. This was still probably one of the better small stock calls here that you had here today. This thing was right down here. This entry at 237. I don't know if you're able to catch this on this big move up, but man, oh man, This says with that strength, that big power green candle there, higher we go here. TNYA.
No worries, Parker. No worries at all.
ELF went down to 98 yesterday. Did it print below 100 yesterday? Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. So here we go. So to your man, you know what? That was the buy, Tony. That was the buy. That was the buy. Buying the recapture of the $100 level. That was it. Shoot.
Yes. Yes. Webcoin Lunar did have a catalyst. There was a passive stake taken, or an active stake taken, in the company that was reported this morning, just before. I'm sorry, late last night, just before 9 p.m. So we're also getting a pretty good squeeze out of this as well.
EBS here, this trading higher, 32.5%. This is on a new Mpox treatment, testing Mpox. A clinical trial of brincidovir. I butchered that. I'm sorry. Just a Mpox treatment. EBS continuing to move higher here and also above the VWAP.
Seeing a little cooling off. How about you?
Yeah, I am definitely. Now the SPY is not necessarily showing it because we did push higher here, but we've kind of stabilized higher here. I guess maybe SPY is trying to take out those highs.
We're at new all-time highs. We're at new all-time highs now.
Yep. Here's your Qs doing the exact same thing. Push to that new level there, kind of flagging. Dow looks the same. DIA. Yeah, 13. I am. Lyft coming back in. Actually, this is holding a higher low. That's still good. Maybe there is still a 19 test coming in here. At least we already traded that once today.
Lunar to the moon. Actually, Webcoin, I think they've already had one visit.
And tipped over.
And they tipped over. Yes, they did.
And they tipped over.
It's actually back over 9 now. So, okay, here we are. Let's see if we can push past this 906 intraday high we made 15 minutes ago. If we get that, we're looking for 950.
Huh. So did anyone happen to catch that Saquon Barkley leap this weekend?
Did you like
he got drug tested right after the game.
Oh, get out of here.
That's the report I'm looking at this morning.
Yeah. All the regulators saw that. Like, that's superhuman.
That's actually hilarious.
I like what I sent you instead. If Nike can actually, start making ads like that, that'll turn the company around for sure.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Awesome.
Moderna here. Wow. Who was it earlier that was saying, I'm not going to dip into the vaccine stocks here? This had good earnings, a decent pre-market. It has been bad news since the open. Okay, yeah. Bad news.
I was mentioning that we were talking about RFK potentially having some kind of position, maybe with the FDA or something like that. I was saying that Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, because they have other products, they might be fine. Moderna, not so much. I think that's a company that specializes in vaccines and things of that nature. So I think this is a company that would be getting hurt more than other companies like Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. Lunar, by the way, 914 it pushed up to. Needs some more volume to get us to go higher, but that was a nice break over the intraday high.
Funky cold stocks. As a Giants fan, everything Barkley hurts. I totally get that. Look, this is what I would say. You can't control what the team you root for does. I'm starting to realize that too. I can't control these things. I don't know how you. Dude, I'm there for you, funky cold stocks, man. That one hurts. Saquon's something else.
Yeah, I feel like that was a mistake. I think they needed to work on their quarterback and offensive line.
Yeah, I'm with you there. CELU, cellularity. Oh my God, come on. Cellularity. Come on, Ryan. Cellularity. Popping the highs here. Actually, a pretty decent impulse move. This is a nice move up back to VWAP and then bang, new highs here. I'm gonna let this one go. I feel a little late to this one, but not bad.
When I look at the daily chart in SPY, it looks like this week this has been on a halt fest.
Because it was just here. Let me.
It's gapped up 3 days for well, not 3 days in a row, but 2 days in a row, it's gapped up. It just looks like, what you see, like the chart you would see in a stock that's, going in and out of halts. All right, Lunar pushing some more. Here we go. Give us 950, Lunar. We can be done.
Oh, and CELU has earnings tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Tim. I actually didn't even look at that. Sorry about that. Good call there, though. Lunar, here we go, 920. Kale's all over this one. CYN, by the way, all of you folks that were saying CYN might be done, that looked like a good call. Maybe this kind of holds here and bounces, but I don't know.
That needs to recapture 475, and then we can maybe look at and see if it gets back up to VWAP. But volume needs to be better, and I think it has to hold 455, or else we're going to be seeing 425 pretty quick.
Frey, F-R-E-Y. This is the battery play that we talked about earlier. This had a nice little pop and drop, retrace the entire move, but it looks like we're maybe grinding higher here. Given what we've seen from Frey here, be careful. You're likely to see kind of a bigger pull like we already saw here. Let's see if Frey can actually get rolling above the VWAP here. No position for me, but this one looks like it might be setting up.
BIVI, this one we were waiting for to turn around. It recaptured VWAP, and now it's trying to come up to the highs we were mentioning earlier, 275. It seems to be the spot that's trying, or 274 actually, seems to be the spot it's trying to break over. Late in the pre-market before the open, that was the spot we were trying to get over here. It got rejected multiple times. That's going to be the level to watch for a breakout for 274. Sorry.
And there are so many stocks. So many stocks on the relative volume scanner here today. I'll tell you what, this is I like this.
Yin
IONQ, look at this moving.
Wow. 924 we got in Lunar. Now we're getting a little bit of a pull here. Probably just cooling off because that's a pretty good sized candle we just had prior to this. Volume needs to be better. Or else we might lose this height, but still a good ways away from VWAP.
Jay, I love this. I love this here. We're gonna cover this here real quick. Pets. Anyone in besides me? I believe there were a number of people trading pets here today. But Jay, kind of breaking down the anatomy of this trade here for you. I've been talking about all of the unusual call buying. I can confirm that, Jay. There were multiple days that you were in here mentioning that pets, and I actually pulled it up a couple of times, and it was not even sure if it was really responding to that. It's responding now. I think that's very clear. My March 2.5 calls have almost tripled. This was an idea since the PetQ buyout brought in the new CFO. So management change here, really kind of doing things for you. This was awesome. Jay, the one question I have about your trade, when you buy calls into the future, how do you determine the expiry date? What are you, is it like generally a month, generally 2 months, generally a quarter? How do you do that calculus to determine what expiry you're going to buy? I'd like to hear that. Tesla, here comes 300. Bingo. We've been calling that one all day here. Tesla next move to 300 for sure.
Yeah, and that's going to make the price be up over 21, almost 22% since the election.
Yeah.
That's if that sounds pretty extended, it's because it is.
Yeah, you maybe there's some short-term resistance there at 300 for Tesla. Bros might be getting 50 prints here on Bros. Wow, what a move. What a move.
Frey, what a move. Blasting right through that VWAP.
Yeah, it did. And we were just talking about that maybe setting up. Let's go, 13.
Yep. So now it's coming up to some intraday consolidation here. It looks like somewhere in between 205 and 210. There might be a little bit of resistance that causes it to pull back, but as long as it holds VWAP, we might be able to push up higher and take out that intraday high of 223.
Hey,
for hold the VWAP. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Speaking of Jay's pets trade, Now we identified that with some unusual options. Look at the lunar performance here today. There were $10 calls that were brought pretty aggressively early. I mean, this is not terribly expensive. These calls expired January of 2025. So let me actually check my broker here. This is just what Benzinga Pro gave me for the unusual options. Let me see if my broker has any other maybe sizable trades. Let's see. The 10. Note that December 10 call is all my broker's telling me about too. So I'll tell you what, that 10 call, that aggressive call, maybe that's one of the reasons that Lunar is still outperforming here. Lunar, a little bit of a pull down from the highs, but that's interesting.
Interesting. The float shorted helps too.
Yeah.
All quantum computing is moving up.
Yeah, look at IONQ, dude. I'm pretty sure this is another one of those. Oh, come on, Ryan. You got to hit the right keys on the keyboard. Look at this move today. An IONQ 20 prints already here. Pulled off that spot, but man, 16 to 20.
Carmen's QBTS doing really well too. That one's up over 13%.
Okay. Here we go, Jay. I appreciate this. Small names that are illiquid, Ryan. I go out as far as I can. I need the time for it to work. Bigger names, I shorten the time frame. This is helpful. This is really good stuff. And you know what? I've kind of seen this too in my own experience, right? I've seen some of the smaller or some of the more illiquid names. Sometimes it takes a while for that move to generate. It takes a while to get enough eyeballs on the stock where the volume is really starting to kind of pick up here. This is good stuff, Jay. Hope you folks are paying attention.
Oh, no, you told us, Robert.
Yeah, no, he did. Robert, you did tell us. You were successful in this. You were successful in telling us this. Robert's a sharp guy. I tell you what, Robert, you're part of our happy hour group. You're live trading a lot. You're not afraid to take risks. Sharp guy.
Yep. And he talks about what he's buying and selling too. So
yeah,
that helps a lot of people.
You know what else? You were talking about ASML for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, Robert, you came in here one day and you said one day you were getting absolutely pounded on one of the down moves, right? And I think the takeaway from that is that you showed absolutely no evidence that adversely affected you, and that's not easy to do. That's not easy.
Back here doing it.
So, way to come back here. Way to stick with your plan. That is exactly the type of thing that we want to impart to our community here. Really, really good stuff, Robert.
TNYA. This one making new intraday highs. Looks like GEO and AXON are also trying to push, but their volume's much lower, so I'm not sure if we're going to get the same kind of movement. BIVI, this thing is right on the doorstep of that breakout spot of 274. So let's see what happens with that one. If we can get over that, we might see it run a little bit. CYN, this thing is actually curling back up.
Really? We can get a setup here? Yeah, you're right.
It might not be done, but I think at the very least, it's going to try and test the VWAP, which I have at 509. I don't know that we're going to get much higher than that. So temper expectations of that one. If it breaks over and runs, that'd be great too. But the volume needs to be a lot better than that. MACD is showing a curl, so I do think we might be getting at least a retest of the VWAP.
Robert saying, yeah, it used to bother me, but easy come, easy go. I made it all back the next day. This is... You are a trader, my son. Well done, Robert. Well done.
And I'm sure he's got he learned a lot from that too, and he probably outlined it too. He probably
I actually read a quote earlier today, and I this bugs me because I can't give proper citation. I don't remember who this quote came from, but there are no losses in the market. There are gains and there are lessons. I thought that was a pretty awesome quote. Pretty awesome quote. It's a good way to look at it. Anyway.
CYN might do a fake out. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at about
literally pulling. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to pull it here. I thought we were gonna try and push up to at least VWAP, but then they would just come back in. It's looking pretty weak still, and the MACD hasn't fully curled yet, but volume needs to be better in this one.
EOSC, this is another one our group has talked about quite a bit here on this show. This actually popping to some highs as well. Big B's. Lots of lessons, modest gains. I feel that. Vintage Tool, let's just say I learned a lesson today. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Foxo rebound.
Was that the FOXO? Was that one of the penny stocks that was ripping today?
I don't
Yes,
know
it
about
is.
today. I thought it was yesterday.
Oh, it was not
that we
ripping
saw.
here. It's actually selling off.
Yeah, it's yesterday.
That was one of the penny stocks. Yep.
So now we've opened with an inside candle, down quite substantially.
Hey, Bex. Great to see you this morning. Hello, Becca.
Looks like we're getting a little bit of that movement in GEO and AXON. Not quite, the big moves, but it's trying to push up. Just very slow. VI, that was a good one. That broke through the 274 level finally.
Let me put that on screen here. Smoke Tuna with another tip for our group here. Watch the market open volume bars. If you see more green than red, it might move higher there. Smoke Tuna, you know me, man. It is all about the volume on a lot of these moves here. So I'm going to read that tip.
CLSK turning back around.
There's so much stuff on here. This is so awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to have more than one thing to look at.
I know. I was just thinking that. And I'll tell you something else. If we, just on kind of a more macro level, if we can get some of these concentration in some of these bigger tech names to orderly file out of some of those names and then proliferate into other names in the market, oh my God, that would be so good. I'll tell you what, that would really help our melt up to the end of the year if we end up getting that.
Lunar not breaking down, and it looks like it's just preparing to try and go higher. Volume is not great, so this could still roll over. But hey, 924 was the high. That's not bad. Maybe we'll get one more pop at the very least, and then it'll come in. But this thing looks like it's really starting to slow down. You can see over the morning how volume has started to drift.
Robert mentioning VST moving back up. This actually reclaimed its VWAP. Some pretty decent volume increase there as well on VST. Also seeing some option buying here, the 100 and the 135s. Those hundreds must be a closing position there. Maybe that's a roll. Maybe they're rolling from 100 up to 135, maintain some exposure, book some gains on that. That would make sense to me for a trade.
AXON coming back in. GEO with a little bit of a pop, but not very much. Frey now trading above VWAP. Okay, VI really getting some volume now. That looks much better. So this thing could really start to get some movement here. What else? SGMO has a nice day. So Smoke Tuna. Let's take a look at
check that out for sure.
10, almost 11%.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's just moving pretty nicely. I don't know on what news. Let's see here. Price target raise. They don't have their earnings yet. That's next week. Just it looks like it's a just HG Wainwright's price target. And ENSC Penny Runner.
Yeah, we've taken a look at ENSA a few times here today, but no, you're right. That one's moving. A huge impulse move out of the open there. Qubits, that's another one of those quantum names.
Yeah, QBTS.
Yep, here we go. LAC. Oh, Izzy, I'm sorry, man. You've mentioned that a few times here. We haven't really covered this. This is still in kind of the same range, though. This really, right? Yeah, we're still just the last several days here. We're really kind of flagging around 4. I do want to see a move towards 5 here. This is Lithium Americas. What's the deal with the Canadian? What isn't there a ticker that's Canadian and as such has to deal with the Canadian tax structure? Am I mixing that up? Pure Play Lithium producer. This one is the Thacker Pass, located in Nevada. Is it LAAC? Is that what I'm thinking of? Lithium Americas, Argentina. No. Maybe I'm mixing this up with something. Let me see if I can.
Hey, ELWS. That was a nice call. That thing's pushing right now. Oh, wow. Look at that thing go.
Yeah, see, this LAC, this is also listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange.
Wow.
There's something here. Sorry, 13. I know we're talking about two different things. We go back to that. There's something here with LAC where it has some type of like Canadian tax burden or something like that. I'm sorry, let me look into this. Let me actually make a note here. Let me look into that. I'll come back. If you guys know, let me know. Let me know if you know offhand. Which one were you saying wow at that I needed to check out?
That was ELWS.
Early Works.
Smoked Tuna and I were capturing that when it broke out. Lithium America is a Canadian mining company that received advanced tax rulings from the Canadian Revenue Agency in July 2023. On October, no, that's not it. I know. I wonder if that's what it is you're referring to. It's here's also a notice from the 18th of October last year. There's so just kind of skipping ahead here. What I'm wondering is if they have to deal with the Canadian tax structure, which is not as forgiving as the American one, and is probably that gap is probably going to widen now that Trump was elected when we get tax reform. So I'm just wondering how that's actually going to play into the stock itself. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. Sorry for not being prepared on that one. ENSC any moment says the Crow.
Wow, that ELWS that you guys were talking about was pretty good. Look at ELF. ELF continuing to move higher here. We talked about this way, 115, 120 prints now on ELF. Next target higher here. What did we have on that? A breakout here of 123, and then maybe a move back up to 134 here. ELF looking good. No, Robert says blame Canada. This is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to actually accurately represent it instead of just haphazardly blaming other countries.
So it looks like the chief operating officer for Wayfair is going to be stepping down at the end of the month. I'm sorry, end of the year. And John Blotner is going to assume the role of president of commercial and operations. So some leadership changes. That's probably what the catalyst was to help it get started here. But this has a high short interest with high days to cover. 30% of the float shorted with 5.5 days to cover. This is a short squeeze candidate. So I think that catalyst news combined with the short interest is why we're seeing this upside in Wayfair today.
Good morning,
hey,
Mike. Hope you are doing well, boss. It's great to see you here. Here is your Wayfair move to the high. Every time I see this stock, I think of the stupid jingle that they play on TV. It's marketing at its finest. It's working on me, and I hate it.
All right, Lunar now making new intraday highs. 925 is the current one. Still looking for 950. I also saw something that we were talking about earlier, Geo. That actually did go a little bit higher. Now we're pulling back. Current intraday high is 23.95
on Geo.
Mm-hmm. Frey, that's still going higher after recapturing VWAP. Looking for 223 intraday high.
There are so many stocks on my list that it's had trouble for me to find some of them. Here you go on. This was an amazing call from earlier from our group.
Soundhound still slowly making its way up. 613 is the current intraday high. 614 now. Looking for 650. That was a great call on ELWS and managed to nab that before it started moving.
Yeah, that was a very quick trade. Good job. Good job there, guys.
All right.
Good job.
We have CLSK. That one looks like that is setting up to push higher. Looking to take out 1338. Is Bitcoin going? Okay, so Bitcoin, we are actually much closer to the all-time highs now. Let me just get you that number again. 76,514 and 29 cents is the all-time high print I have for Bitcoin. So we're about $700-800 away. Nvidia got as high as 148.75.
Actually, you know what? I haven't even looked at Nvidia one time here today.
Microsoft new intraday highs as we speak. Let me take a look at a daily chart and see what that looks like. We've been kind of going back and forth with Microsoft for some time here. Still think this is going to end up being 500 next year, late next year. Because they're actually firing on all cylinders with their gaming segment. Not surprising after they acquired Activision Blizzard. Let me just do this. It looks like 430 could be a near-term top, but we're also recapturing the 200-day SMA for Microsoft, so that's encouraging for upside. All right, SoundHound still pushing up. What are we looking at now, folks?
I'm just rolling through the list here. This quantum name is still going. Elf still going. That took out 220 now. 225 looks to be the next spot there. Elf. Coin break. Oh man, that I tell you what, Coin. That was a stock that I liked for a Trump win. That moved here. Look at this. I'd love to take out this 260 high here. 260, then 280 on Coin. Oh, give it to me. That'd be great.
All right. CLSK knocking on that door to make new intraday highs.
Lion Atlas, your last three messages in order are yes, lack, no. I got to be honest, man. I'm not sure what you're trying to get. I'm not sure
he's responding
there.
He's responding to what you're saying, and I think you're just seeing it a little late.
Okay.
Was whatever that point you made, that's what he's saying no to. And then Robert's mentioning iNod, one of the happy hour
specials.
specials.
I haven't even looked at iNod. Here, you know what? I'm going to do two of those stocks here in a sec. I did want to take Izzy's on Under Armour here. This is having a better morning than I thought. This up 30% here. This was up in the pre-market. We started to give away some of these gains in the pre-market. I was like, oh, that might be it. Nope. Recrossed to the VWAP, took out those pre-market highs. Now you got a little bit of a run here on this one. Man, oh man. Should have been on this one too. We hit Lyft, missed this one though. MSTR is ripping. Wait, okay. It's just listed in both exchanges. It gets some tax break from Canada. Okay, appreciate that, Lion. That's what I wanted to look in there. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Let's see. What are we looking at that's moving?
Meta puts I'm seeing come across here. Meta, as that rips to highs. So I don't know about that. And then you guys, there was. I wonder if Lion is like delayed. Because then I kept talking about it, and then maybe that
there is a slight delay between how we're talking and what actually.
No. I mean a bigger one than that. Sorry.
Okay. Meta
See what else
15
I
points
missed
today.
on the chat from you guys.
Gross. VI, this thing's still looking like it wants to go higher. Volume not great. Volume's really evaporated out of this market, it seems.
How are we doing on SPY volume? Because we were kind of wondering, right there, are we going to see more volume after the election is over? We're about 10 million shares here. What, an hour and a half almost into the trading session? I think we probably just still close around that 30 to 40 million threshold.
You know, why not just hit 600? Why not? We actually could end up heading towards there, and we could end up with the same thing we got back in 2020. I think it was 2021 or late 2021 or early 2022, where the market finally topped out. We were looking for 500, and we only got like 489 or something like that. ELWS, that is looking to take out 8 here. Pretty good sized wall at 8 though.
This was a monster call from the group. Smoke Tuna, you were all over this, man. That was awesome.
Just looking for some things to keep moving here. Geo still going higher, 2405, new intraday high.
Take care of yourself, Becca. Thanks for saying hi.
Take care, Becca.
Appreciate all your support.
BIVI. Yeah, just slightly put in a new intraday high. There's 8 in ELWS. ENSC, that didn't get that breakout we were looking for, I think. Right back underneath the VWAP now. Hey, Zaid.
What's up? What's going on?
The market.
The market, dude. Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's as I don't know where I remember this. It's booming at the moment. It's just continuing to make all-time highs, continuing to just move to the upside. And this is kind of what folks expected, depending on the results of the election, and you're kind of see things all play out here.
Well, so let me ask you, Zune. Let me kind of put you in the hot seat here real quick. Do you think that we melt up to the end of the year and then maybe sell off in 2025? Because I would imagine you think there's got to be a sell off at some point, right?
I mean, look, I don't even know what I'm having for dinner, so I don't know about 2025. But I will say that, with the election, everyone was expecting the economy the stock market to continue moving up. We saw the movements in DJT. We saw it in Tesla. You saw it in Bitcoin as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to base over 75,000, that we get crypto at around 90,000, like John mentioned earlier in our interview. So 2025, no clue, man. But I think we do try to get hedge funds and portfolio managers to get some nice little dressing on their P&Ls for the end of the year. Santa Claus rally, everyone knows about it, not a secret. And so, yeah, I do think we continue. Okay. Yeah, sure, you might get a little bit of a pullback, but I don't think it's something where we're like, oh my God. Okay, I don't think we'll see an August 5th type situation unless something happens, unfortunately, overseas, which can always be a thing.
Yeah, look, there's a wild card. I'm not going to ask you to project other governments' war activities. I mean, I think that's a little bit out of our realm here. Good
just
stuff.
Just a guy across the screen, man. I've got no insights.
Pets here. I gotta highlight this comment here. Pets. Please. Wow, indeed, plus 36%. Peanut, bro. Peanut will live on. We'll call this the peanut trade. I'm on it. I'm all about it, Jay.
The peanut trade. All right, not something I thought was gonna be a thing, but it is. Nice. Love it.
Squirrely. Cool. 13 is on.
So Sideshow is asking if I think that Lunar is going to be dropping below 8, and because it's been going above and below 8 for weeks. Just to finish up here, I don't think it's going to it will hold 9. I would be watching for support around 850, and if we can't hold that, then yes, I think it'll go back under 8.
Janae, what do we got coming up here?
We've got my man Carsten Koerl, who's the CEO of Sportradar. Ticker is SRAD. I mean, sports betting has been something we've talked about so much on this show. It's always kind of good.
I do it weekly.
And I hope it's profitable for you. But of course, we've seen prediction markets that just went completely through the roof in terms of the volume that they've seen, whether it's Kalshi, whether it's Polymarket. But the point is that betting is kind of here to stay. It has been for quite some time. And I personally, as someone who loves the space and knows quite a bit about it, I think there's still so much room for growth because not even all 50 states are legalized. Like I've got to travel to Charlotte and Tennessee to bet on sports legally. So, true story. I do that. But anyway, that's what we've got coming up. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
That sounds awesome. Can't wait to see it.
All right. So week 13, you good?
Yeah. Just hope everybody holds on to their gains. We've had a pretty extended market today. So let's temper expectations. Hopefully we don't give any of this back. I know I'm not. Have a good day, folks. See you tomorrow.
Take care, my man. See you later. And Carsten, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on. Good morning, sir. How's it going for you?
Wonderful day in New York. So far, a good day on the market for us. And I'm in your show. It can't be better.
I appreciate you sucking up to me. And for the folks that might not remember what the intro was, but this is Carsten Koerl, who is a CEO of Sportradar. Ticker is SRAD. You reported earnings earlier today. Stock's looking really nice, responding well. So we'll dive into that. And for the folks that might not be familiar with what Sportradar does, give us a quick, brief overview, please.
Well, in a very easy way, we have the content to power the sport books worldwide. And this content is audiovisual content, data content, and of course we aggregate, we make products, we manage the risk for the books, we do predictions. So imagine it in this way. If we will go down, you will see a lot of black screens on the bookmaker side. So we power them.
Yeah, I would not like that one bit. I'm sure the bettors would not like that at all. Let's go ahead and talk about your earnings, and then I'll talk about some of the partnerships that you've had with ATP, NBA, and things like that. Your revenue is up 27% year over year, with approximately $255 million euro dollars there. And then you also have adjusted EBITDA up. That's 30% year over year. Give us the quick highlights on what it is that folks need to know about from the earnings that you just reported this morning.
Well, first, you need to look to the markets. The US is growing for us strongly, so more than 50% growth. That is a very strong result, driven by the partnerships which we have here, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it. And of course, NASCAR and a couple of other things complementary on it. So we enjoy this strong momentum. We are a global business. 80% of our revenue is worldwide. We see pickups in markets like Brazil. We see a huge pickup in Europe in some of the local markets there. So that's a global business. And what we show now, and that's the exciting thing, is we reached an inflection point. So we onboarded a lot of properties, a lot of costs. We did a platform, a lot of technology investments. And now we see the scale and the leverage. And you see that in the EBITDA margin. So from this point on, we predict that you will see more and more leverage. You see cash generation. And that is what I told to the market since 2 years. I hope sooner or later everybody believes, well, what you told me 2 years ago is now reflected in the numbers. That's where we are.
It's always good whenever you have like your first interview with someone, you're like, all right, here's what's coming up in the pipeline. And then you kind of recap it a couple of months or a year down the road. Let's talk about those partnerships with your recent work with the NBA, using the latest technologies to kind of shape up how the fans can experience things with it. You had Mark Cuban that sold a part of the business with the Dallas Mavericks. And he talked about how, look, the future is in terms of sports betting or casinos and things like that. So like there are billionaires that are making moves in this space. But coming back to the NBA, tell me a little bit more about your partnership with them.
Look, we started, or that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when I met Adam Silver first time, saying, how can we work together to be embedded in that ecosystem? And Adam was always on the way saying, sports betting is something which I like to explore sooner and later. Well, we know the story and how much the NBA was pushing, and the commissioner personally. So thanks to this, we have now a regulation, and we see that sport is benefiting great way from this. Taxes are generated with it. We see more and more states coming online. I'm sure sooner or later we will see California and Texas coming online. So there is a huge potential if you look what will happen in the future. The NBA is the innovative motor in the world if it comes to sports. So the NBA wants always to be cutting edge and front running this technology development. And that is fitting so good with Sportradar. We are a tech company. We are investing in technology, and we are making this step by step. Now, the latest sport products which you saw are based on computer vision, deep tracking data, deep data from the players. We get 50 times the wireframe of the players with the ankles, the fingers, the arms per second. And then we can model this. We can render it. We can give you the finger position from LeBron when the ball is leaving, and we can give you a prediction of the flying curve, and we can give you a prediction, is it a point, is it a 2-point, or is it a 3-point? And you can swipe on this to make your bet on it. So this is where we are going. And these are the range of products which you see now launched are partly for the media to give more insights of this. And of course, partly for the betting operation. It's all targeting the in-running market. So live is what we are aiming for. And this is what we want to stimulate with it.
I've worked with the Raptors sometimes here and there with their gigs. And, I've been to their practice courts where they have a huge screen, like a panoramic type screen where any player that takes a shot, they have chips embedded, all the fancy stuff that you do on a sports radar. And, you can see, hey, here's how often your arc is this way. And when your arc is this way, here's what it is. Or here, just like those little tendencies. And they're key for not just improving your game, but of course your opponents are also looking at these different things in terms of sets and watching film and different aspects of that. I'll talk about, the betting markets and the software here in a second, but tell me about your partnership in terms of the ATP.
Well, the ATP is the property which is, for live betting, it's second to none, because you have a 30 seconds frequency on this. You can bet on the next ace. You can bet on a double fold. You can bet who is winning the point. You can bet how many kind of balls are flying back and forth for 1 point. So it is instant betting. It's the micro markets, and we see a very strong pickup here. Enriching now the video feed and connecting it with the offers of our clients and giving them the probabilities based on the computer vision and tracking system. That's the job what we do here. For the ATP, that was for us amazing that we could convince the ATP to go on a 5 year deal with us. And we are on the very beginning of it. and we see a very positive pickup there. From a live market perspective, it's the fastest turning market.
You know, so I'm a big sports bettor. My viewers know that, and to the point where I have actually traveled to states like Charlotte. I'm in Atlanta, so I have traveled to Charlotte, Tennessee, because that's where it's illegal to sports bet. And, you know, we'll be watching the games, and the feed is about, call it 7 to 10 seconds delay. And, you know, the live betting markets are changing. I like to bet on the NFL, but you always get a chance to see, hey, is it going to be a first down? What's the next play going to be? Is it going to be a pass completion? Different things like that. And I would not be surprised. I don't know how far this would be, but in the future where the folks are in the arena watching the game and able to bet on what's happening next as well, right? Certain parameters in terms of regulations, but like that experience, not just for the viewer at home, but also for the viewer that's in the stadium. I you know, would love to kind of see that integration aspect of it. Tell me what else you guys are kind of doing, especially in the world of AI where data matters so much. How are you guys separating yourselves from any of your competitors?
Well, think about it as a platform. So the content is on this platform. In the future, it's not only the deep integration with the partners, it is also how can you get more information from the partners to process this on the platform. One perfect example is we have trading services. So we get millions of betting tickets from our partners. We aggregate this with the real-time data and we predict risk outcomes. So we manage this. We get data and information, we process this, and we create value for the partners. That's a platform model. That's where this one is going. Imagine fan data is flowing in there so we can profile, we can hyper-personalize, and we can make an application, which I'm dreaming of, telling a different story for every sport by using this technology and the data points. So I want to know in which sport are you interested? And I want to give you the perspective of what is interesting for you. Enrich this with betting, enrich it with sponsoring, merchandising. So that is where this is going. And this is the fascinating world.
And it's you know, it's interesting because you have to also know your target audience. You mentioned like, hey, what sports are you interested in, which is not. When I went to Charlotte last time, I came back home and I got an email from DraftKings, from one of their reps, and said, hey, we saw that you love betting on this and, you know, these amounts, whatever. We'd love to treat you to this and that. And of course, for me, little old average American, I'm like, oh, I get to be felt like someone's paying attention. Now, obviously it's targeted, but it's like, cool. I get to have these experiences as a bettor. It's a nice way to kind of get into the action aspect of it. What else is in the pipeline that you're able to speak on? Obviously, you're publicly traded, so you can't tell me everything. But what's something that investors and potential investors can look forward to, say, 6 to 12 months down the road?
Well, at the moment for the investors, it's really very boring business. So we will scale and we will show the cash flow through. We will grow solidly this year, as you see in the numbers. The growth is going to 24-25% from a revenue perspective. We show scale in the EBITDA margin, and we are totally committed to deliver this. So you might say that's a boring business, but it's very important. And it's very important to show the cash generation there. On the horizon, I mentioned the platform. We are working heavily on this. I'm very proud that we could convince the head of the Google business, a VP in Zurich, so it's the highest ranked Google position outside of the US, that he is heading our AI development. The guy is sensational. And what he did with Google Lens is something which I want to do on our platform business. So processing the data, creating this AI layer, and then come up with the various products, but also being able that third parties can develop this. You mentioned the training sample.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of super qualified sport experts and data experts. If we give them the environment that they can mine their application and put it on the platform and get the reach there, that is something which will come in the future. And we are heavily working on this.
Yeah, I will say data is obviously so important for the sports books themselves to know where their risk is. We saw the election. I mentioned how the prediction markets, but also sports book. Now that, you know, betting on U.S. elections is legal, recently passed, sports books also now have to kind of mitigate their risk in terms of, hey, which candidate, how does that work? But it's also the end user, such as myself, you know, maybe not a casual bettor, but I like to think I'm a little bit more advanced, where there's so many sports books out there now that if I want to bet on X player, I'm trying to find the best line. I'm trying to find the best number depending on where I'm trying to go. So that data matters not just on the enterprise side, but also as a user, so you can get the best line, get the best odds, because long term, that's how you can become profitable, right? Poker players love the plus EV play. I feel like it's similar in the sports betting side of things as well. And of course, you mentioned cash flow. You know, you've got strong cash flow there as well. I think it's up about 140% versus last year, where the the third quarter ending.
Yeah.
So you straight strong growth there as well.
Look, I love bettors like you, and I love that space, and we both love it. So,
Yeah.
and it's about sport and technology. The future will be hyper personalized. So you will get your customized offer. You will get it on your favorite teams mixed with your favorite players. The good thing there is you don't have to compose all those things manually and click on the mouse. So you get it in the way like you want to have it. So the more we know about your behavior, the more the bookmaker knows about it, the better we can match it with the deep data which is there and with the application. So at the end, you get a fully customized offer and experience, and you will get also an experience that you can view the NBA match like you want to have it. You can be a bird, you can be the referee, you can be the arm of LeBron, which might be a funny position, but it will be rendered in a customized way, and it will be then done in a way that you get a customized betting offer on this.
Yeah, that customization is going to be huge because I can just see apps giving you a notification of, hey, this player's betting, and the last time he played, you bet on this and you won money. That way, kind of entices the individual to continue betting on what was profitable in the past as well. Well, look, you and I can talk about this for days and days, and I will say this. Let me turn it over to you. You know, you have so much going on. We talked about the NBA partnership, the tennis aspect of it, you adding more markets. You guys also have paid search and affiliate channels to kind of continue the marketing services side of things as well. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to bring up with our viewers?
No, look, we are all here at Sportradar enjoying to work with sport and with technology. That's what we really love to do. We probably forgot a little bit the responsible gaming aspect, and that's where we worry most. So we worry about the integrity of the sport. We worry, how can we help the sport to detect whatever manipulation? How can we educate young players? That's, by the way, a non-profit center. So we're investing quite some money into this to help sport and protect this. The same goes for responsible gaming. So those things are going hand in hand. We should not forget it with the business. The business is growing enormously, as you see in the numbers, and it's scaling very nicely. But it has an aspect that we all need to think about integrity and responsible gaming. We are doing this piece, and we take this very serious. I think that's the aspect which we sometimes forget.
I'm glad you brought that up because, yes, it can be a dangerous slope for individuals, especially if it's not something that they're kind of used to and they're just, you know, it's easy to deposit. But I will say this, props to the sports books that I've worked with so far, where anytime I log in, it kind of tells me, hey, on the top right-hand side, hey, you've been logged in for this amount of time. Hey, you can set limits on, hey, if I lose more than $500 a day, cut off access. So I will give them props that they're doing everything, probably thanks to Big Brother, but they're doing everything that they possibly can from what I've seen to make sure that, hey, are you aware that you've been on this app for this long? Are you aware that you've been losing this much? Are you aware that, you know, your limits are here? So I do commend them on making sure that responsible gaming is a part of this journey, because ultimately it's a gamble, right? That's why you call it sports betting. So I do appreciate you bringing that aspect up. And I have seen that in various sports books as well. Man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And whenever those softwares are ready to go, hit me up. I'm happy to test them out and take them for a drive, and always appreciate a conversation with you, man.
We'll do this. Thanks for having me, and talk soon.
Absolutely. Bye. Best of luck to you. That is my man, Carsten Koerl, who is the CEO of Sportradar. Ticker is SRAD. And chat, you guys have heard me talk before. I am very bullish. I have been for many years on the future of sports betting. Now with the, you know, we saw such, I mean, any article that you read or that you had read around the election, you had data and information from Kalshi, Polymarket, and different things like that, just talking about where the odds were, where things are moving in terms of the markets. And I think we are just in the early stages of sports betting. It's not even legal around all 50 states. I think there's a lot of integration that can happen, and a lot more involvement as the leagues get more and more ingrained with it as well. And it's all about the fan experience, all about us, the users at home. And it's something that I'm definitely bullish on. But as always, do your own due diligence and see if this is something that is worth investing in your money. To me, Sportradar is kind of one of those thing behind the thing type companies. And it's always fun to kind of see where they're at and the partnerships they're coming up with as well. All right, let me go ahead and change gears here a little bit. We'll have, let me, one moment. There we go. We'll go ahead and talk some trades. I'll present some trade ideas for y'all here in a moment. As we talk, Ryan mentioned that, hey, we are melting up to the upside. It continues to go higher and higher. And we'll go ahead and see where we're at And by the way, we will, let me actually check my email to see if, my apologies. I'm just checking something here, and then we'll talk about some trade ideas and see if there's anything for us to take here. All right, let's see what we've got. By the way, contest number 2 for TradeZero is coming to a close here in about a week, but contest number 3 is where we are giving away the biggest prize pool that we have had. And I'll just quickly share my screen on that side of things, and we'll talk about some trading. It's $15,000 for contest number 3. So contest number 2 is currently going on. It's $30,000 for the whole price pool, but contest number 1, Andrea won. And for contest number 2, she's in 5th place, so she's still got a good shot to go ahead and win that. But of course, it's contest number 3 where we are giving away $15,000 to one person. That's it. It's not split between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or any of that. One person, first place, $15,000, lifetime access to Benzinga Pro, and a tour of the New York Stock Exchange and lunch on us as well. So if you haven't already, please sign up. If you have any questions, you can email me at zunaid@benzinga.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into some trading action here. See what we've got rocking and rolling. Here's the melt up that we were talking about on the NQ. Continues higher and higher. Go ahead and take a look at a couple of charts for us. Broke through those highs. Now we kind of see, where is VWAP? Is this even going to touch VWAP here today, or is this kind of it? What is it going to end up doing? Let's see where the EMAs are themselves as well. Yeah, I think we've got to have a pullback at least to like the 21,000 area. I think we can definitely see a pullback there, and then maybe possibly to about the 2180. The question is, am I going to take a trade here? That is the question. Let's see. It says you're in the studio now. I don't see you. Apologies. I'm producing, doing the show, and also trying to get a guest on. So a little bit of silence. Let me put some music on here. Oh, there she is. Let me go ahead and move her to the video. One moment. Hey, Andrea, I can see you in the back. Give me a moment. I'll go ahead and bring you up. All right, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Awesome. How are you? Good morning.
Oh, I'm really sleepy this morning.
3 hours back.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I've been trying to get a little more rest. I feel like all the momentum from contest 1 is slowing down. So
yeah,
sleep in a little bit and not wake up at 6:30 every morning.
I was just talking to the folks about how you won. I'll share the screen here, about how you won contest number 1, right? And then you've got contest number 2, where you're also on the leaderboard top 5 at the moment. It seems as of yesterday's end of results. But first, let me kind of back up. Tell me, what's it feel like to kind of know that, hey, contest number 1 is in your bag. You've got $5,000 coming your way. What's that feel like?
Oh, well, it's great. I mean, I feel like it's still taking a little bit to sink in. I feel like all the like past few weeks have been a lot of like, well, I know that there's a news article that was like, oh, I won it, but like, did I really win it? Is it real? Am I actually going to get $5,000? So yeah.
What are you going to end up spending it on?
Well, okay. My wife really wants to get a new blender for making smoothies and also a Ninja Creamy so she can make ice cream. So we're probably going to get those. I think that's all we have planned at the moment. I'd like for some of it to go into a trading account so I can trade more real money as opposed to contest money. So
let's talk about that journey for you, because I know last time we talked, you were looking to kind of get into quant trading, and you know, how's that kind of experience been like for you so far?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, you know, I've had the past 2 internships, but I mean, it's a very competitive job market. I'm still in the application process. You know, I'm making progress at some places, but still don't have any offers on the table. It's really hard, you know. Hopefully something shows up soon. I'm optimistic about the current kind of recruitment processes I'm in, but yeah.
What's been your strategy? Because look, it's obviously, you know, you had contest number 1 where you went ahead and won that one. Contest number 2 where you're in the leaderboard there. So clearly what you're doing is working in terms of strategy. Give us some insights. Don't be humble. Don't be modest. Give us some insights into what is it that's been working for you here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so fundamentally, if you think about this contest as its own game that is different from just regular trading, you don't need to make risk-adjusted trades because you're not trying to manage a portfolio in a well-balanced and reasonable manner. You are trying to maximize the amount of money you have in your account after 1 month. In order to do that, you need to be much more risky than you would normally be. And I've gotten lucky that has worked out well for me, but I could very easily have $0 in my account right now based on the trades I've been making.
So the risk aspect of it, I can understand where it's like, hey, you don't need to kind of protect your bottom line because it is a competition, and that's just a reality of things. But the type of trades you're taking, are they the type of trades that you would take in your real money account? Maybe not the same size, maybe with a tighter risk and, you know, those type of things. But the idea and the principle, are they similar to what you would take, or is it just kind of like, this feels right?
I guess half similar to what I would take. So normally I would not also gamble on the direction that stocks are going to go because I don't think I have any actual alpha there. I would mostly just look for volatility arbitrage opportunities in my regular account. But if I'm buying straddles, that means I only get half as much money as I do just buying one direction. So it's riskier, but is better for maximizing P&L.
Got a question from Robert, a viewer here, about asking if you have any formal education in finance.
No, I'm a grad student in math, so I know a lot of math and I know a lot of probability and game theory, but like statistics, but that's it.
All right. I love it. Now, last question for you before I let you go. Any trades that you currently have on that you're swinging that we can talk about?
Sure, but honestly, I don't think they're going well. I don't think I positioned myself well around the election. So
were you hoping, were you kind of seeing that, hey, we might get a dip in the market? Because obviously we're out going the opposite way.
I was expecting there to be more of a dip. I was expecting, I mean, honestly, just because I haven't been focusing as much attention on the market the past few weeks, I expected there to be more action in the tech sector than there was, and less in the financial sector. And I think I just didn't position myself around that as well as I could have. I don't know.
Well, contest number 3 is going to start at market open on November 18th. Any strategies that you're going to change pace? Because that's the big money. That's where one person gets $15,000, and that's it. It's winner take all. So anything you're going to do there differently?
I mean, probably not. I feel like my current strategy is working about as well as you could hope that anything could work. So, you know.
Awesome. Well, hey, look, the chat's rooting for you. They love it. Congratulations on the success that you've seen so far. Again, you'll get an official email from me about in terms of next steps and different things. But I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck. And good luck with the ice cream. I hope it's as delicious as you and your wife would like.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Absolutely. Great, take care. Yeah, take care. Thank you, Andrew, for your time. And of course, folks, if you want to go ahead and compete, you can still compete in contest number 2, by the way. You just have to trade at least 5 trading days to kind of have access to it, to be able to win the $10,000 that's coming up there. But if you want the big money, Contest 2, 10,000. If you want the big money, it's contest number 3, $15,000. Go ahead and check it out. I'll put the link in the chat. It's right there. All right, let's go ahead and check out some other things in the markets as we have been continuing the melt up here. Made all-time highs. And in my opinion, yeah, we do go ahead and test out these EMAs, these trends. Don't know about BWAP. That might be a little bit far-fetched, but we have just continued to the upside here. And let's see if there are any other tickers that you guys want to take a look at. Tesla, let me go to Tesla here. It was at what, 250. So Tesla, let me go to move a couple of things so we can kind of talk about it in more detail. You kind of had, so this is when the elections, this is the 6th, right? So the elections happened here. You had resistance that was around the 250 area. By the way, look at how well it held 250, the whole number there. We talk about that so much. Went ahead and held 250, moved to the upside, and then you kind of found a little bit of support at 275. You saw resistance. I'm going to go to the 15-minute and move away from VWAP. But you saw, and this is a trade that I took, which is why you see my risk reward up there. You saw resistance here at 290s. Then we go ahead and pop above it. Didn't even look back, continuing to the upside. And now we'll see if Tesla does want to go ahead and test at least a 289 on the 15 minutes. So the previous resistance, we'll see if it ends up being support or not on that one. Let's go check out a couple of different tickers. OKLA. Maybe I typed that one wrong. Let's see. OKLO. All right. Beautiful movement to the upside. Let's see if there's a trade idea here for us to kind of work with. It's not a stock or a ticker I'm familiar with, so perhaps not. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any insights from you on this one, but it does look really nice and a nice little movement to the upside. Math geeks rule. Yeah, I'm not a math geek. Obviously, Andrew's kicking it, killing it rather in the game that she's in, doing really, really well. Here's Robinhood, by the way. Elon, I don't know if you're still here, but I wonder if you ever repositioned yourself for Robinhood. They've just been doing some good stuff there. The stock has, responded well. It took a little bit of a dip after they reported earnings. Right, so here they reported earnings. It took a dip all the way around the 22 area, and then it kind of had a nice little move up, found the base, found support around that 23. And now you're facing resistance at that $30 mark. Not surprising after the run-up that it's had. And this is, I think, because of the election and the contracts that they have priced. And I think that's another example of the sports betting market, or the betting market in general, moving more and more and getting more things involved. You've got Disney, by the way. Ooh, look at Disney. Why did I have this level drawn? I don't know exactly why I had this level drawn, but I had it drawn, and it looks like it's working out in terms of resistance. See if Disney is able to crack $100 or not. Let's see if Amazon. Oh, Amazon finally cracked 200. Nice. I didn't realize it did. But it did yesterday. Finally broke through that 200. Look at that. Nice. All right, chat. I'm going to go ahead and get up on out of here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I can review some charts. But again, we would love it if you guys could join our competition. It's powered by TradeZero. A lot of great stuff happening there. We'd love to interview you as well. Sebastian, who, by the way, watches the show, is currently in first place. I saw this. I didn't even recognize. I got to get him on and see what he's trading, because my man is just, where are the leaderboards? Hold on a second. Sebastian, we got a chance to interview him, and he's killing it. 1.5 million on his trading account. Absolutely. I got to bring him on. There's no question. I definitely need to see what he's been trading and what he has had success with. All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back again tomorrow with Ryan at 8 o'clock in the morning. And hey, we will have coverage, by the way, at, I believe it's 1 o'clock. Don't correct me, or don't quote me on it, with the Fed Powell speech and the minutes and all that good stuff as well. So stay tuned. You can check that out here at Benzinga. And then, of course, we'll have the earnings later on today as well. And then we'll be right back at tomorrow morning. So a lot of great content coming out. Let me actually see if the Fed stream link is up so I can share it in the chat for you guys to join us. Give me one moment. We sure do. It looks like it's live. Should I say what now? Oh, that's me. All right, once it's there it is. Perfect. All right, this is where we will be to watch the Fed stream. Let me go ahead and put it in the chat. So make sure you guys join us there. Click on that link. Save it as a reminder. We will see you there. Genuinely appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you next time. Oh, wait. Nope, wait. AC is going to want me to play the outro, so I got to play my outro. Don't think I see the outro. Okay, bye.